It's a guy, a car, and a podcast.
It's a guy, a car, and a podcast.
It's a guy, a car, and a podcast.
It's a guy, a car, and a podcast. Buckle up.
Alright, we're on in 5, 4.
Alright, welcome to the latest Concerts of Console. Surprise, I've got an episode here that I didn't know I was going to have an episode this week. Originally I was supposed to be out of town, but I'm not. I'm here. And I'm here with Adam from Evening the Score and Active Psychic
Actual psychic violence. I did play that show with them, but I'm not in the band. I'm just.
And we're kind of collaboration, so you can also check out his show, A Guy, a Car, and a Podcast.
Yes!
That one I did get. So you'll find that on that stream. Is it YouTube? Is it?
It's on YouTube
iTunes,
and it'll be on iTunes, and
every
Spotify, and all that shit. Like, not this next Monday, but the one after that. Probably like end of the month Monday.
Okay. So yeah, and we're going to play some Twisted Metal. I went the route, we're going to use the PlayStation Classic. It's easier to run through HD, and I didn't have to worry about if the disc would actually read, because my PlayStation running cinematics I noticed isn't always the friendliest. So we're going to jump into the 2-player and see if this works out. Because it's been a while since, I think we're just going to select levels and find it out. Or we can take turns and play through the story mode. As he just learned, there is a story in Twisted Metal.
Apparently, yeah, I don't.
That is Outlaw. I was trying to say. Sorry, this is pre-podcast discussion. I was trying to remember the whole thing about Twisted Metal. It's one of my favorite PlayStation classics.
I remember it being so fun, but that was 20 years ago. Like everything, just technology.
I always loved being Mr. Grimm, even though he has like the weakest defense in the world.
Oh shit.
And
oh jeez. Yeah. Okay.
in the short loop,
we're going.
What do we got? Oh yeah, we can choose. All right.
Oh shit.
This is.
Let's
see.
These are
let's go to the rooftop.
worlds too. Oh man, that's been a while.
Here's our controls if you need to see it.
I do. Okay, so we got gas, turbo, reverse, tight turn. All the guns are up top. Oh, so gas and reverse. Oh, okay. So I can just use either the frontward, backward, or okay. All right.
Tight turn, fire up, and gas. I can't control. I'm going control freak. I don't know if you can. Can you control that?
Yes.
So you can change your controls if you don't like the defaults.
No, I'm good with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine.
All right. So let's try it.
We're gonna see how good this whole thing goes. Really, I don't know.
Yeah. Being a Nintendo fanboy when this
shit.
launched. This is one of those franchises that I was like, we don't have on the N64.
This is so great. Uh-oh.
But I think it's just...
Okay, I just fell off a building? Alright. This is a really...
That's how I win. I just drive around.
Real bad
and he
start.
falls off.
Oh, okay, so this isn't one of those you repopulate. This
I know
is
we
like,
do, but the way they did it.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
they're... Why are you...
Firing at you? Because that's the goal of the game?
Oh, so this toggles. Okay, so then I need to... That's
I'll let you figure out
okay.
controls. I'm going to go get power-ups. And run. And drive off the building myself.
I got this. I'm all... Oh, now I figured out the control. I'm going places now. I won one!
Yes.
I
didn't use the ramp correctly.
Don't.
There is a hierarchy of this... that certain buildings you're supposed to go the other direction into.
Oh.
So that ramp's designed for landing, not for
So is the whole purpose for us to kill each other? Or is
Yes.
there, like, stuff that I can find and...
The whole purpose is to kill. So
okay.
we might go into story mode and alternate here.
I guess we might have to. Because I'm just going to run away afraid of you because I'm not...
You could break through this, I remember.
I'm not aggressive enough to...
I don't remember. Or I thought it was this one. You can break through and there's secrets.
See, I'm looking around like an idiot. I'm not. I need to just find you and start shooting.
Well, I just used all my powers.
Where's the ramp that took me up to the rooftop where oh, hang on. I see you. I see you! Oh, crap.
And...
Alright, back up. Oh, dang, there you are. I saw you again. I saw you again.
There we
Wow,
go.
you're like shooting missiles at me. What's this crap about?
You have them too.
I do. Yeah, I need to.
Alright, let's get into the interviewing part too, though.
I'm ready. Oh,
so wait, so Evening the
all.
Score, how old is that band?
Super good question. By music release, it's 2011, so I guess it's like, what is that, 8 some odd years old? But by me coming up with that band name, I came up with that when I was like 17, back when I was first writing music.
Was it just a solo thing all the time, or did you have a...
I mean, the idea was for it to eventually be like a full rock band when I was 17, back before I knew that musicians are all like really, really pretentious and musicians don't like taking back seats and they don't like being a part of other people's stuff. So what ended up happening is I was writing music and I wanted to, did you fall off the building? You did.
Yes.
And I wanted to like make a band, but I ended up getting like signing onto other people's projects and started playing like bass and guitar and other people's shit. So it really just started off as me being in other people's bands, and then it was that way for a decade. I just never did my own thing. I was always writing music in the background, but it was me playing for like Already Lost or Curbside High or The Heartless or Two Dimes or...
Wait, you were in Two Dimes?
I mean, when I say I was associated with them, I did play several shows with them, and I went on tour with them once as like their equipment manager kind of thing, but I wouldn't say that I was in the band. Actually, fun fact, if you listen to a Guy a Card in a Podcast, the intro song of a Guy a Card in a Podcast is an unreleased Two Dimes track. So
I thought they were trying... God, who told me that there was some stuff they were trying to post up?
They actually finally did. Brandon, the guitar player, got in touch with me because he heard that fucking song, and he's like, dude, you have those tracks? I'm like, fuck yeah, I have those tracks. I'm a nerd, bro. So he got them from me and put them on YouTube. Now you can YouTube Two Dimes. I think they call it ASDF. It's the album that never got fucking released. It's out there now. So everyone that's watching this, go fucking listen to it. It's not just one of the best punk rock albums you'll ever hear, but definitely one of the best ones that ever came out of Arizona. It's like Lagwagon, No Effects, like such a great fucking album.
They were one of my favorite locals when I first started listening to music around Phoenix. Back in God.
And the funny thing is, like, I haven't heard from Graham in forever. Like, Brad, I know where he's at. Brandon's out like driving truck and shit, but
Graham has settled down. I know that.
Has he?
He was in Nito when they started.
I guess John was too for a bit, but now I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I feel like he settled down too. Like he married.
He did, but John is at least a little more active on social media.
Yeah,
so I know he's.
Yeah, Graham's like gone.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Gone. And that's part of the reason why Brandon asked me for all the fucking tracks because Graham doesn't talk to anybody anymore. So I forgot with this game, like your card takes damage and just starts turning into a hunk of shit.
Yes,
that's
the real reason I'm Mr. Graham. You can't tell.
Yeah, so I was probably at one of their last shows. Actually, I think one of their last shows was the Battle of the Bands that they did not win. Surprise, surprise. But and not because of their talent, just because Battle of the Bands are fucked in the sense of like, you know, he who sells the most tickets wins the Battle of the Bands.
Because of the placement.
Isn't how that should work. But they played a song that they really hadn't played ever live, but it's one of the last tracks off of their first album, Life Goes On. It's called oh, fuck, I can't remember the name of it. But the idea of the song is basically, you know, if there's one thing that I know, it's This Won't Ruin Our Next Show. It's about the fact that they did a Battle of the Bands early in their bandhood, and it was back when the Edge used to, like, play... like the local frequency that the Edge used to do, and they would play like local bands
and go punk yourself. Or
for some reason, I think the Edge put on the Battle of the Bands, so they were announcing the winners of it. So like Two Dimes was all together at like Andy's house or some shit at like midnight, waiting for the fucking announcement, and it came and it wasn't them, and they were so fucking bummed out, and they wrote this song that was like, "This isn't gonna break us." It's a great fucking song, and they played it at that Battle of the Bands that they lost. That was like their last fucking show, and I'm like standing front row, just bawling, like just crying. It's like, it's so great that this happened. But yeah, then they just fucking, you know, all got about their lives.
I think one of my favorite tracks of theirs was Gwen.
Oh shit, yes. And it's great too, not just because it's this really fun song that Graham wrote about being in love with Gwen Stefani, but in the middle of the song, the band breaks into Sunday Morning, just out of nowhere. So it's such a great like reference piece in music.
So the last time I saw them was 2004. I think it was at Edgefest.
That makes sense.
And they were on the local stage. And that's also where I first met...
I think I was there, and I think we played that fresh off of going to St. Louis to open for Goldfinger. Like, we just got back from that tour spot and bumped right into Edgefest. So we were, like, wasted from the road. But
that was the first time I met Robin Nash, also from the Edge.
Oh, man.
Who never remembers my name, but remembers my face.
Don't take that hard.
No, it's even better. Last time I started, she's like, no, don't even tell me your name. I should know your name. I'm gonna... Is it?
I've only met her once, and it was one of those weird moments. Like, I think it was actually just before we went on that St. Louis tour. Like, it was her birthday, and we all went down and hung out with her at some bar or some shit. And like, I don't think I'd ever seen her. So first of all, seeing her was a trip. But then they introduced her like, "Hey, this is our buddy Adam." She's like, "Hi, Adam." And hearing my name come out of a voice that like is in my heart because of the radio. Fucked my shit up, man. It's like, whoa! And she's like super cute and really, really cool. And
that's
now
also,
I guess she's like, didn't she work for...
I met Graham for the first time that time too. He had hair to here, he had flip-flops.
Yeah.
And then when I ran into him when he was playing with Nito and they just started, it was like short hair. And I'm like, you don't look like what I remember.
He really has gone through some phases. And I mean, nothing against Andy. Like, I love Andy as
Andy Higgins.
Yeah, just like a tremendous human being. Some of
49%.
my favorite, like, Nito songs were the ones that Graham wrote. Like, Graham has this songwriting voice that for some reason just grabs me. Like, his lyrical prowess and his melodic one, like, he's just fucking outstanding.
When I found them, I was like, oh, this is like a superstar band of like bands I listened to when I was in high school.
Yeah, yes.
Originally.
Yeah.
Because Andy from 0.9%, Johnny from October,
yes.
Johnny from Two Knives, and
that's so
Graham.
great that you know Johnny that far back. Like, I knew, what's the singer of October's name? I can't think of his fucking name. I knew him because we were in the same training class at University of Phoenix online. So, like, I met him there. And then I went to a show. I think Chris Wagner might have still been playing bass for him at the time, but I saw them play, and it was, just cool. He's like social deep.
I was at the Art Institute doing a game design degree, but a friend of mine in the video program was like, I'm going to go shoot video for this album, this band called October's release show at Minor Binders. We're going to go. I'm like, all right. And that's the first time I saw October. And it was like the second or third time I saw 0.9%.
I feel like
I also hit my head on that concrete. That hurt.
They were one of those bands that, like, I was only kind of like half into their sound, but I just loved their presence. Like, they were a really good, fun rock band to watch live, but I don't know. Yeah, just the sound wasn't 100% doing it for me. And then, Johnny, I think, jumped right from them into the Heartless, if I know.
And then, like, it was, oh, God. Red, White, and Bruised was that. Who's that local band? I can't remember their name right now. They did the song Red, White, and Bruised. Crap.
I don't know.
And I just ran into one of them. Like, it was even funnier. His friend, was it Lisa Bush, was, like, introducing me. And he's like, he probably doesn't know any of my songs. And I mentioned it. And he's like, oh shit, you do know my songs. I'm like, yeah. I didn't go out as frequently as I do now, but I was listening to local bands way back.
I feel like, I mean, if I wasn't in a local band, I don't think I would have been able to listen to as much local music because not a lot of them had like CDs and MySpace and like, Bandcamp and shit. It was just the internet was so fucking
That's
new.
why I would go to, was it Eastside's at Mill and University. But I was a West Sider. I graduated from Thunderbird, so first I got my driver's license and I was like, all right, well, I can't always drive to Tempe from over here. That costs money for gas, which back then, now I'm like, I wish it cost that much now.
Like $1.50 a gallon, right? Like,
Look at my high school yearbook and see 99 cents. You're like, when the fuck? What the hell happened?
George Bush. Come on, that's what happened. We all know it.
But
oil tycoons running.
Yeah, so then I would, and Zia. I would regular Zia look their local section, and it was Craven.
Do they still have a local section at Zia?
At least the Thunderbird one still does. I haven't looked at the Mill one.
Craven. You were with him the other night at fucking, at the punk rock show. And like, he's one of those guys that like, I know him by sight, but for some reason I can't get him and Gadger like separated in my brain. And I'm like, Gadger, right? And he's like, no, Craven. And I'm like, fuck! This was your moment to like feel cool. You're just an asshole.
Yes. Craven gave me my first nickname, Homemade Shaker Joe. That's how I have a Facebook page. It wasn't even for the every show channel. I got peer pressure because people are just like, no, you should just create one. I'm like, why would I create another page? I have to manage it. I already have to manage my own Facebook. Why the fuck do I want to spend more time? And then I did it. I'm like, there, you guys can shut up now. And it was named after Homemade Shaker Joe. And then I'm like, well,
can you explain that name?
Yes, I can explain that name.
I'm ready.
So, when KUKQ launched after the Edge/XFM changed formats and fired everyone like Craven, Craven started doing an open mic called Woodbanger's Ball, which also went with his, I think it was weekday afternoon show on KUKQ, where he'd do acoustic covers. So it had to be acoustic, but you could get him to play acoustic punk and stuff in the morning. So that actually kind of was my morning when I was working my other job. He was just like requesting.
It's so rad.
And then he'd do the ska punk snack lunch. But yeah, so then one of the shows, I think it was Todd Libby. Was it? Oh, one of the bands that was playing the open mics like, Joe, get up here and you can actually play with us. Oh God, I forgot.
When you play.
No, well, it was percussion.
Oh, okay.
Like, and then Craven called him out. He's like, you don't actually have that, Joe. I'll just go buy you a beer. And then Victoria Cruz, and she's like, no, wait. Which some people might know the name. She's kind of also pulled out a little bit and become more homebody. But she was like, no. And yelled at Travis Stevens, who's bartending and managing Pub Rock at the time. He's like, Travis, do you have an empty beer can? Gave her a PBR can. She ran out front, took gravel from Pub Rock, put it in there. Travis took stage tape, put it over the top of the thing, and it was a shaker. It was a homemade shaker out of a PBR can. And you can see it in the corner behind me on Every Show Joe Says Go. I've made sure to at least keep it around. But yeah, so then we used that, used it as a shaker. They had stuff the rest of the night, and I made nothing of it. And Craven's like, I better see that made it home safe. I'm like, okay. So then I got home, took a picture of it, posted to Facebook, tagged Craven. All right, see, made it home safe. Forgot about it. The Monday before, I think it was Monday before Woodbangers, they're like, you're bringing it, right? I'm like, oh, I still have it. Yeah, sure. Okay.
It's stable now.
And then
That's good.
I just started bringing it every week to Woodbanger's Ball, and then he started calling me Homemade Shaker Joe.
Wow.
So that was my first ever nickname, and Craven gave it to me. I mean, nickname other people gave me. Let's put that.
So you mentioned that you were in school
I'm running a
for
circus here.
game design, but obviously you're huge into music as well. Like, was there ever a time that you were thinking like music, performance, or otherwise was going to be your thing? No, just a
no. I just liked
fan?
it. I just liked watching it and moshing to it, and especially my time at GameStop. And one of my assistant manager, third key. No, assistant manager. She was like, "You mosh?" Because you couldn't tell. They're like dressed up, especially when they had the polos and the normal dress code.
Yeah.
They're like, "You're so calm and stuff." And then she's like, "I think that's an outlet for you, like to release all your stress. Go to these punk shows and just move around and mosh and run into people."
Yeah.
Like I always just had fun at shows and enjoyed the music.
Which is funny, because you and me standing in front row at the Idiot King show, there was at least 5 times that they were trying to pull us into a pit, and I know I wasn't in the mood for it. You seem to be kind of avoiding it too. Are you kind of over that now, or do you still like get in sometimes?
It depends what I want to do. It's also, I'm somewhat goal-oriented, so I'll be like, all right, I need to get my good phone picture, and I need to get this before I'm going to relax and just whatever, let's have fun. Like last night, I ended up in the pit for Ass Swipe Junkies and Skull Drug. But it was after I was like, all right, I got a good picture, I'm comfortable, let's just so I can have fun now. And alcohol had a role in it.
Which begs the question, I mean, obviously you're a really intense music fan, and you do really great. I mean, on behalf of the music, the local music scene, you do great work for like what we're all doing. But what was my point? Where was I headed with that?
We're gonna go into something else. I feel like we're running in circles.
Yeah, we are running in circles after each other.
I'm gonna play some single players.
It comes back to like I guess maybe like the stress because having a podcast is fun. I enjoy having my podcast.
Yes.
However, there is a point you get to where you're kind of like, this is real fucking effort to like produce this thing, to keep it like packed each week and shit like that. Have you gotten to a point with what you do where you get like a little over it, like kind of having your own mental checklist every time you go to a show, and it's like there's a point where you can enjoy it, but that point's probably, I don't know, an hour into the show or some shit after you finally like gotten some content and sort of.
So, actually, that goes into everything's peer pressure. That's how this all. How everything. I'm starting to believe it's just the will of the universe being like, no, this is obviously what you need to do. And I'm like, okay, I enjoy it. But 2.5 years ago, I got a real camera, and this is where I can really relate to bands that are just like, I don't give a shit about my draw, I just want to keep playing. I'm like, all right, well, I kept bringing the camera to everything, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like already a month behind. I'll catch up. And I kept taking it, and then it was like 5 months behind, where I finally was like, I can't take pictures, at least with my real camera, at every show.
Yeah.
It takes too much time to process it.
Yeah.
And so then I established my like 4-show rule, kind of a 3-show rule, where the pile can be 4 and that's it. So now I don't bring it to everything. So I can actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm also dying again. But that was where I realized, because this all started as a stress relief. Like this still is my happy place. But when I made it into a job every time, I was like, fuck, I'm tired and we're exhausted and a little. So then by removing the camera part of it, even with the phone, it's not too bad. Then I was like, okay, I'm having fun, I'm relaxed, and also I'm still playing. Let's reverse. I forgot what I said to reverse.
And this whole back end of it, the whole consoles to concerts thing, like, I haven't watched a ton of them, but I get the impression like you don't get as many guests as you would like, band-wise, up in here to just sort of like play video games and talk about shit. Is that accurate, or you do a pretty good job with
the band is
who you want to have in here kind of shit?
So far, we've only had, let's see, 2 fall through at the moment. And one of them is actually another local podcast. It's more work related and schedule related, but just like, first I did do a podcast and he ended up actually deleting it with a couple others. And then trying to reschedule was like, and we have yet to. But then I was like, cool, we'll bring you on. He had his new project, and then his work schedule changed, and then it was like, crap.
When you say he deleted it, was that accidental, or was that because it was
cleaning up his files? Like he deleted like even like he had an interview with Psycho Steve. He had like all this stuff, and they weren't posted yet, and he actually deleted I think a folder that just happened that he thought was not.
I've had 2 like episode gone things. One was like, I still have the episode, but after she listened to it, she was like, no, I don't want that shit out there, so it never got published. And the other was I was talking to an actor in LA. It was a high-profile interview for me, and the fucking app that I was using just didn't record. We had like an hour-and-a-half conversation. It was so much fun. It was great. I had to text him afterwards. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. It went away. Can we redo it? He's been really sweet, and I just haven't like gotten back in touch with him because I want to try to put some time between our last conversation and the next one, because I'm hoping it'll feel fresher than us just like trying to have the same conversation again. But it was a bummer for me to lose that.
But no, most people, it's been a mix of bands that I've approached, because this came out of like 3.5 hours of sleep listening to a podcast. The idea dawned on me when Harper from Harper and the Moths was on Getting Stoked, and Matt was talking about, he's like, I want to put together like a local podcast network and stuff. I'm like, I have this idea. Will it work? I don't know. But then I'm like, and Harper's on it, and I'm like, And I've been trying to get together with Harper and play video games for a little bit. What if I made it where I schedule them and they come over and they have to be there? And so I put it out there on a Facebook post and passed out after I got off work and then woke up first stressed out. I'm like, oh fuck, what did I just get myself into? And then like, once I woke up a little more and thought about it, I'm like, no, this is a good idea. We should go with it.
It is.
But I was just like, at first freaked myself out what I did while half asleep at work. I'm like, I publicly put it out there. Crap.
Which is the most, like, way back when I first, actually it might have been before I even got the Mac, when I was getting ready to edit the documentary, I made, like, this just ghetto teaser trailer for it.
Yeah.
And I put, like, coming summer of 2019, specifically because I'm like, if that's on there, I'm going to have to get this thing out by, like, August or September. I'm going to make myself do it.
Oh, I'm dead again.
So it's fun to kind of put yourself out there and
so that's how this came about. And like
work.
Harper, Maddie from Creepsville, like initially Brandon from American Standards. Initially it was a bunch of people that I already knew, like video games, and we talked about just getting together to play video games. And I'm like, no, let's get them on this show. Love their band. They're part of the reason this show even exists. And there's still been a few that escape my brain, and then I remember like, oh shit, that's right. They should be on this show, and I forgot about them. And I'm sorry. Well, I don't tell them I'm sorry. I just ask them and see. But there's people that cross my brain, and then it escapes in the ethereal of everything going on.
I feel like one of the most beautiful parts about a show like this is, I feel like gaming culture can be so like solitary and isolated that you're just in a dark room somewhere just playing games for hours and hours. This sort of like takes that experience and makes it a little more social, makes it a little more sociable, and that's I don't know. I think important just to like the psyche of a gamer. I think they need to. Well, and I guess headsets and shit like that have like made it more you're talking to each other, and that's a thing.
And I wanted a bigger outlet to just talk video games again. I was like, hey, I don't usually talk that a lot. I know. Well, you heard earlier. I know a lot about.
We're talking about like the Japanese fucking imports and the difference. In
I know about the issues with this PlayStation Classic. I know the history of Twisted Metal. David Jaffe. And they made them in the Singularity. Made this one and the second one, and they were sold to Infogrames. And then they made, I think it was Vigilante 8. They made another car combat game, but Sony owned the rights to Twisted Metal, so Sony kept going with 989, which are not as critically reviewed, and I personally am not a big fan of them. But the people that made it left single track. I think. Fuck. It's something like that. They left and formed Incognito Studios, and then they made Twisted Metal Small Brawl and the darkest ever Twisted Metal Black. Like, the intro story for Mr. Grimm is fucking him in a cell with his military buddy who ends up dying. He ends up eating him and using his skull as a helmet and enters this contest for Calypso. And you're like, holy fuck. This whole series is darker than I even gave it credit to.
Which begs the question, you went to school for this.
Yes.
Where did that go after school was over?
Nowhere.
On purpose? You just were like, I don't think I like the direction this degree was taking me anyway.
I have an opinion on pay-for-profit schools now, but
I
went to the Art Institute because I was like, I'm a big video gamer, I want to make video games.
Yeah.
But I'm more of logic, like my day job is computer programmer.
Okay. So you do some, at least in the
spectrum, and it's still a goal.
In the sport, maybe not in the arena, but in the sport.
And it's still a goal. Let's just jump into something else. We'll go.
Okay.
Let's include you again.
Alrighty.
Plus, I'm getting nowhere on that.
I feel like when you invited me to do this, I'm like, it's a great idea. Hashtag I'm a shitty gamer. Like, I really don't game
Let's go
much,
into Destruction Derby. This will be more fun.
But I love that we're going to try this. Oh, shit.
And this is one of those that runs at 50 hertz.
Okay.
Because Sony, whatever reason.
It's also so fun that like there's like a producer in the room. Like of all the times, I've just been running my own ghetto like podcast for this year and a half, 2 years. It's so fun to be in like a professionally produced situation where like there's a guy right there It's like making this shit happen.
Oh, and if you
when I listen to podcasts, like usually the producer will like, he'll
and he's
chime
welcome
in
to
or
chime
some
in if
shit.
he
Like,
wants to.
it's just awesome. I'm like,
But-
this is how it should be. How do I get my show to do this? And then I remember that my show's in a car. So no, that's not how that works. You're not Jerry Seinfeld.
Hit up the producers of this show, see if they're willing to work with you.
If you can find a sponsor to pay for your salary, you, sir, are welcome to produce my show.
Yes.
Or interns.
If you look at, what is it, the first 10, 15 episodes, they're out of my apartment. I was doing
Yeah.
everything. I even had it set up where I moved the second monitor, rotate it, have my wireless key mouse, ran it all from the side.
Yeah.
And then Shane hit me up from here, from SER, and I was like,
Oh, he came to you?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking A. That's awesome.
And I'm
so
super
bad.
grateful for it. But it was just like, wait, that's weird. Why is, huh? Why? I'm not that important to hit up for it. But then I'm like, I should go with this. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's been a wonderful thing to have a place. And it keeps my privacy, because I was like, it is weird that I keep giving people my apartment address, and the more people I give my address out, should I be worried or should I be okay?
Yeah.
Because they're going to start seeing all the stuff I own.
Yeah.
And they're going to know how to get there. No, everyone I had over, I trust. I say that now. But
I wonder sometimes with like my weekly gigs at Gotham Comics where I just do acoustic shit for a few hours, I wonder if somebody that's got a beef with me is ever going to come by and just like start shit or try to like get in a fight with me or something, because it's where I am. Like every Saturday night, you can't miss it, but except for tonight.
what am I doing wrong? Alright, X. X.
Now, racing games are my thing. This, I can Mario Kart all fucking day long, so I'm
Let's
all
just do a wrecking race and see what happens.
doing this shit. You should see this is
Multiplayer.
You found Twisted Metal in this game. You're like, let's go break some shit.
Wait, we have to enter our names? Alright.
We were
yeah,
talking
so
about
back-
privacy, right? I don't want to do this. This
But
is
also
cool.
on the... My name's in the title, it's fine. There we go.
That's a good point. Like, do I have to?
If you want, or you can put ass or whatever.
No,
you
it's not moving. Do I need to like, hit the start?
do I have to
button?
put your name in?
Yeah, I think you do.
All
Yeah,
right.
you can put it. It's cool. I guess that's one of the funny things about my show is like it's called A Guy, a Car, and a Podcast. So there's some degree of anonymity to it, but in the description it says Adam Blaylock's Freewheeling Podcast. So like I'm definitely there.
Why does it look like it went backwards again?
Your console hates you, dude. Hates you right to your face.
We put names in, so there's that.
I did what you asked! Take me to the game!
Alright, it has my name, so I think it's...
Oh, it's just yeah.
Let's just go with whatever says smoothie in it.
There you go.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Now
Can
I get to...
Can you?
I don't know. It's not letting me.
It's still me.
Oh, wait. Oh, up and down. Up, nose. Yeah,
that's
you.
still me.
You're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can be the Grim Reaper.
Okay. Is it good?
I hope it lets you play. It said multiplayer. Oh, good, we're back. What's going on?
Is this what, assuming that like hardcore gamers watch you do this shit, is this one of those moments you get stressed because you think there are people on the other side of the screen just screaming at you what you need to do? And you're just
My
like,
mind is screaming at me going, what am I doing wrong here?
Oh, Lord.
I should know this. Oh, there's a go. That's
No
right.
bad, no bad. Maybe it's the go at the bottom of the fucking screen.
Let's see if you have a controller now.
So
it's got my name.
Okay.
And just my name?
It did. That was all. That was all game.
We're going to find out if there's
We're afraid of what's happening. So
But
what kind of programming do you do?
Right now, C#, .NET, VB. You're not racing,
Yeah,
are
right
you?
here. Nope. Wait.
Wait, are you?
No, yeah.
Okay. We'll figure this
Let's
out.
try it again.
Man, this is a really...
So you already started using terms that are mildly over my head in the sense that I don't know. Go ahead. Continue. I'm
This
ready.
is a really long way just to exit a race. So the other thing I kind of grew comfortable with it anyways, back end of high school, through college and past, I wrote for small video game websites, and I'm like, my name's already publicly out there, whatever. So I've kind of gotten comfortable with it.
I mean, and you got one of those bitchin' names ever. Like, when I saw that your name is, like, Joe Maier, I was just like, you mean, like, the other guy? Because I can't not.
With a John?
Yeah, getting, like, all
And a Y instead of an I?
out. Yeah, exactly. But still, it's like, even just saying it, there's, like, a chocolatiness to that name that I feel like has got to be benefiting you. So you said what kind of programming do you do? Walk me through. I'm ready.
Do I just set all these to 2 players? Is that what's going on? I hate this. I hate this. This is probably a better single player game. Because I'm just going to keep entering names, aren't I?
All day.
But yeah, so I mean, I've always been involved with video game stuff, writing about it. And those writings are horrible. But regardless, you can find them on the Internet Archive. Oh, they're wordy, they're repetitive.
Wordy, like pretentious? Like you're using like bigger words than you need to? Or?
No, just I like to go into like so much detail, and it's like all this detail's not always needed. Like
it's like every aspect of their graphics. It's not like an editorial.
So we did stock car. Do I just set?
Yeah, this is really interesting.
It seems silly, right?
It seems like
we're just gonna keep entering names and
so
for every option.
Uh-huh.
This is the most entertaining part of the show. If you weren't sure our names, I'm putting it in front of you guys.
So was moving from school into a job like a happy thing, or did you find yourself sort of
again?
Because you mentioned like you have issues with the
so
school
what
itself,
happened was, and I still learned something. But first off, they didn't give a shit about my skill at all as an artist.
Oh,
and I'd never really put paper to pencil and drawn anything.
Okay.
My sister's really the artistic person in my family.
Got it.
I just wanted to make video games, and I had learned some Visual Basic in high school, and I self-taught myself HTML. And I'm like, okay, I can probably do this. And I don't even. We're gonna probably jump into another game,
okay.
But we'll see what happens here. So went into the thing, like it didn't even click until my last semester, second last semester of life drawing. Like I had no idea of like. What are they fucking telling me about the shapes and learning the muscles? And suddenly it clicked, and I'm like, fuck, now I wish I had all these other classes to go back through.
Oh.
So there was that. They did help me also, like Photoshop. I forgot what Adobe's movie suite is. But I worked with that in there. I worked with Unreal Engine. We actually built a mod on Unreal Engine with a team. But I didn't learn as much as I should have. It took takeaway. It was funny though. I got to the programming class, and you see it on display. So they always say artists are like not logical, and then we're doing Visual Basic, and I'm like, what are you guys freaking out about? Like people start just like, this is so confusing. This is like the most basic programming language. What are we talking about? Look, I can make colors flicker and give people seizures. What are you complaining about? And that was like the first realization. I'm like, I'm not like you guys.
Oh, wow.
I'm more logic and programming and less artistic. But yeah, but I still did okay. I passed my classes. I put together a decent portfolio. The idea would be more do like, I think as everyone, I can be a designer. I can be a game designer, level designer. But yeah, so spent 6 months-ish. They even have a counselor that helps you try to find a job. But the only thing that, first off, because of my portfolio, it's not a degree-based field. It's the first thing that I learned. So even though I had the piece of paper, it comes down to your portfolio. So second of all, I'm competing with all those amazing artists, including ones that either left their job, got fired, or graduated from my school or from another school.
Wow.
So that put me a low man, even lower man on the totem pole. So I'm starting to apply to QA positions, and no company really wants to pay to move someone to just do quality assurance.
Yeah,
like there's plenty of people applying locally. They don't need you from Phoenix to pay for your higher cost of living in LA.
Yeah, for sure.
And Rainbow Studios was the one main one out of Phoenix at the time, and they had already kind of filled up because that's where everyone went after the Art Institute. So I'm like, well, I need income. So I went and started doing a job selling parts on eBay for a company locally. And then they put me down as I had a job. So they stopped helping me. I'm like, I needed the income. This wasn't like, I got my job related to my degree, like 5 or 6 months later, my manager there is like, hey, so your school emailed me, they want me to review how you're doing, but I'm not going to do it because this isn't even related. I'm like, I know, that's weird. Like, they just stopped helping me. They considered me part of the people that they found jobs from the degree.
That sucks.
And I'm like, I'm managing eBay stuff for a company.
Yeah. Bullshit.
So that's where I started having a distaste for...
Yeah.
Because they didn't really screen me to be like, are you a good artist now? You can just... No, you can be part... You have 50 grand? Okay, you can come into our program.
I feel like it's one of the reasons I'm happy that I didn't ever do the conservators program. They're like, I sat down with them and I'd had a little bit of... I'd done like recordings on my own and shit, so I brought like, what I'd done and... I don't know if it's that they were impressed or they just wanted another fucking student, but they were like, yeah, dude, this is exactly what you should do. But then I just didn't do it for whatever reason. And then as years went on, like, I started noticing that, like, most people who work at Guitar Center are former conservatory students, and that, it just doesn't end up panning out, so. Yeah? Because this feels like more what the conservatory's aimed for. So, good on you. You got to the right end of the rainbow versus like burning out somewhere else.
Cleaning toilets at Capitol Records.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Alright, this has a clear versus.
Let's do it.
I don't have to keep entering our names. I hope. Alright, so yeah, you can change your car, right? You have control now.
Do I? Am
Yeah.
I? Oh lord.
Press down. No?
Oh, this is the same car. Wait, what's it?
Oh, there you go.
No, yeah,
So
this
you can
works.
switch your car.
Yeah.
Alright, we found a game. You can play, and we're not going to just be running over each other or falling off buildings.
This one looks pretty sexy, but how many am I looking for? Is it just the 3? Oh, look, yeah, these are cool. That's kind of yellow.
But yeah, so that shaped it. I kind of floundered for a little bit. I ended up same time, so I actually worked 2 jobs. I worked part-time at Babbage's at Metro Center. And I worked that eBay job, and then eventually I quit that job at Babbage's because of a manager that took over who was a dick. But I was nice, and I know how that company works, so I was like, alright, I won't cancel all my reservations on you, because I had like 8 or 9. And I know how that'll reflect really nicely on you guys for your rankings. So, an MIT, manager in training, I'm like bringing all these acronyms and abbreviations, came in while I was still coming in to pick up my games. He's like, no, I agree with you, he's a fucking dick. I'm going to have a store here in like 3 months, you want to come work for me, I'll rehire you. I'm like, okay. And then, so I ended up back at GameStop, right as they merged with EB. And he got a store within like 3 months, 4 months of that. Wow. And the day he got it, he offered me the assistant manager position. He's like, I know you know your shit. I know you didn't rise because the dude you worked under was just dumb. I already talked to the regional, you're good to be my assistant manager if you want it. And like, gave my notice. I was at Charles Schwab at that time. And so I went into the GameStop system, went back into the GameStop system and learned about the cog in the system there. 6 months I was a store manager. I actually there's a couple people that I see going to shows that I used to sell video games.
Yeah?
Yes. Is it loading? Oh, that's right, Japanese. Confirm, it's not X, it's circle.
Fucking Japan and their stories. Ugh.
Well, they started switching the controls for Americans later on when they realized we used this button for confirmation, not this. But that's also why it's circle and X. That's supposed to be canceled, not supposed to be confirmed.
Do you listen to Hollywood Babylon? Kevin Smith's podcast with that Ralph Garman guy?
I listen to Batman Beyond.
Okay. There's this like fucking
There we go.
segment that they do called "What the Fuck Japan." That made me laugh just now thinking about this.
But yeah, so the Germain and Greenfield location is the one I managed for like 3.5 years.
Oh wow!
Greenfield in the 60 is the real crossroads. I just remember having to always clarify, no, it's the traffic lights Germain. Yes, we are Greenfield and Baseline, but we're not there. If you drive there, you're not going to see us.
That's like a chunk of your life, 3 years. What was that like?
The first year, I was like, cool, finally, because like, they hate, GameStop's getting it, or if anyone ever listens to this, they hated overtime. So anyone that wasn't manager and salary, you can't go over 40.
Wow.
And so it'd be like, shit.
So you were working your ass off.
And potentially, this is live and I can't edit it out if I say anything that I'm no longer an employee.
That's a good point. We can skip past if you want.
I'm no longer an employee and I'm rehirable if I ever wanted to go back. But I kind of would work off the clock a little bit and help too, which never fucking do that ever. And I swore never to allow my associates to do that, and I tried to keep that. Because I hated it. But that was kind of how, to get to the immaculate spots that they wanted, we ended up kind of doing that.
I held keys to a Radio Shack as an associate. Like, she treated me like an assistant manager, but I didn't have a fucking paycheck or any shit. Like, I just, counted down the drawers and took the deposits and did all that shit, but I had...
I also realized you're not playing, so we'll get that.
I'm not, yeah. We weren't on there
right, it's full screen. But yeah, no. So like when I became a manager, I'm like, yes, I don't have to worry about like having to get stuff done and working past 40 without being, and then realized the double edge of that. So
as far as your own,
the first year though, like that store grew all 3 years. You can access your profit and loss, and I was like, cool. I took pride in it. But yeah, by the second-ish year, they control your payroll. So to complete all the things I needed to complete, my payroll started dropping even though the store was growing. And I was working more, and I was wearing myself out. And now you can select your card.
Okay.
It's circled when you select it.
Yeah. Oh, that's why. Okay,
yeah.
circle.
Where is that? And I was starting to burn myself out. I was working 50, 55 hours average by the last year. And I started having, I'm not sure if everyone has this, but I have a breaking point where even stress, I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I need to, here's the facts. You give me access to this. Why is my payroll dropping in? Mm-hmm. And for every once in a while, I would get a boost, but then it would fall back down again. And I'm like, what the fuck? And the thing is, the company's balancing payroll. It's business.
Yeah. Because
the lower performing stores aren't gonna, their payroll has to come from somewhere, and if they're not making money, then it comes from the stores that are making money.
For sure.
And I was suffering from that. So I was working more. I even had my assistant manager, well, I had two assistant managers. One of them, bless him, he would fucking stay, like, I would be stressing the fuck out and sending him a text. I'm like, I still have to do this and this to set up for a Black Friday sale. So I'm not even leaving for another 3 hours. This sucks. Wow. Or, because, like, believe it or not, your customers don't know when you have shortened hours or still show up in normal hours, like the day before Christmas. Till 6, you have people, and you're not probably done with them until like 6:30, and you still have to set up the ads, you still have to do all this shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, fuck, I'm still stuck here because this has to be done before I leave.
Yep.
This sucks. So, like, I would text him, and he would come in, and then we'd still have to, like, keep him at 40. So then there's, like, I have to pay for it later and cut him and be without support or person there.
Cut the lows.
And so I eventually ended up going to a doctor, blood test. Found out my testosterone, all the chemicals that speed you up in the morning and slow you down at night were done. Like, wow. My health had deteriorated. And that's what I did after going to the Art Institute.
The end. Wait, but that's not true.
But that's how this all started, funny enough. How I started going out to shows more.
Yeah.
So after that, I stepped down I went and got financial aid. So this is the story. The lesson is you're never too old to go back to school. You don't have to ever stop learning, and you can always still correct shit. So I went back to school. I remembered I liked programming. So I went back, did an associate's for that, but then also on doctor's advice, I needed to have they're like yoga, whatever. You need to go and have a place that you're not stressed out.
Yeah.
This is all the effects of stress.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I remember every time I'd go to like a NoFX show, every like 2 months or whatever, a concert, I forgot about my stresses. I forgot about work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so, all right, so concerts. We're going to set a goal 1 a month, and then hiking. And those were my stress-free zones.
Yeah. I need to start hiking. That just feels like it's a good...
It is a
energy.
mind clearing. Like,
Yeah.
I've been trying to do it once a week, usually on Sundays, and just get out into nature, get out of four walls. It works. Also, probably the exercise. That also is an antidepressant.
Yeah. Which I never mind. Like I'm aware of it completely, but I don't know. Just.
But also, that's also more of the Every Show Joe story. So yeah, so I had a goal of once a month. I was going out to a concert, and then I mosh. Actually, that's how a lot of people met me. Was in the pit. They're like, dude, I saw you at like the last 3 shows with like Real Big Fish and like 30-0 and the NoFX show or the Lagwagon hadn't played in a while then. But like various shows, Two Tone Loser Kings. And so I started meeting people that way. I started meeting local people like Rusty, who used to be in Uptero. He was like one of the first people I made friends with from the local bands. Him and Shane Pogue, if you know Shane.
I'm aware of him. I don't know if I know him personally.
So that's how the ball started rolling. And I would drink, partially also as a stress relief, at the concerts. So I was like, I'm going to take pictures and post these on my Facebook timeline. That's the only thing Facebook's good for. I didn't use it. I really didn't use it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I'd post pictures with the band name so I could remember the next day the bands I liked.
That's so funny that it was like more for you than anything. So
but then friending people on Facebook, they're like, this picture's pretty good. I'm like, wait, it is so. All right, I guess I'll keep doing phone pictures.
You do have a great eye for catching moments.
Those old ones are bad, though. I'm not recommending you go look at them, ever.
I'm going to.
But that's how this ball started rolling. So, and then they started inviting me to their shows, and I started watching more local bands and start going out more. And so,
wow.
And that's how this ball started rolling.
I mean, again, is it pure enjoyment still, or has the snowball started to like just get so big rolling down the fucking mountain that you're kind of like beholden to something that you're like, man.
Again, the only time that it became stressful was when I started to bring my camera to everything, and I'm like, fuck. I was telling this man I was gonna have them pictures, and I still got these shows, and this is, I feel so like. It actually came up, I think, a week ago in my Facebook memories. I was looking at it. A poster, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm like 2 months behind. I'll get to them, I promise. Like, I was starting to stress out. No one was bugging me. It was all in my head. I'm like, fuck.
Which is maybe the hardest thing about doing something like this is when you feel very easily, I don't know, just kind of and maybe it's a pressure you hold yourself to, but it's like you just need to like, I guess people pleaser. Like you just need to keep other people happy and satisfied. And
I like to keep to my word. So if I told you, I'm going to give you those pictures, they were good, right? All right, go. And then be like 3 weeks later, and I see you, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't those pictures up yet. God, what do I tell them? And like for most people, first they're fine. Someone put it in perspective, like we're not like going, oh fuck, where those pictures Joe's supposed to get us? Fuck that, dude. They're like, no, if you can get them, get them. Don't worry. Like, people put it in perspective. Like, they're not actively like, man, we're starved for pictures. Joe promised us those. Man. But, yeah, and it's me just being like, if I let myself go a little bit, then I'm going to slack on everything. It's a worry that...
With your show being like, I don't know, I guess kind of sponsored or supported as it is, do you feel some need to like expand or reach higher, like Real Big Fish or something, like trying to reach out and like get
him on this
someone, like some
no, well at least currently no. It's the same philosophy I have with my Instagram with everything, because the reason you don't see tons of pictures of me is because it's not about me. It was to promote bands that I like, that I want people my goal, and it probably should be more than one now, but my original goal when I was doing it after meeting some of the local guys and starting doing it for them, because not just for me remembering drunkenly what I liked last night, it was just like, no, this is to promote them. Was that I'm hoping people see a picture and like, oh, that, or see the Instagram story and they're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, and go check out their Bandcamp. Or maybe the goal is for, if every person that follows me has at least found one new band, I'm happy. Though given the scope, I probably should be like, as long as they found 5 new bands and they checked them out, then. But yeah, so that was the philosophy of the Instagram. That's the philosophy of this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this actually also gets them to check out some games or be nostalgic. Be like, dude, they're playing Twisted Metal, they're playing Jumping Flash, or they're playing whatever. I'm like, that's really cool. Or Zombies Ate My Neighbors, like 2 months ago. Stuff
What
like
a
that.
funny time we live in. That like, I mean, that they make like these little consoles that can hold like 400 games or something.
Well, people have modded
like
these. This I've left intact.
Yeah.
No gray market, no gray area. But people have figured out how to load stuff on and expand it.
It's just crazy. Like in a funny way that like all the games we used to love are, you know, such small data files. Like it really whatever that.
And so, like this one I brought more because I was worried that it wouldn't. The PlayStation one I have right now might not run right. So I was like, at least I know this emulates it fine and has stuff I want to play. It's your turn to.
Has this been me the whole time? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I apologize. We're getting there.
But I need to also figure out where the stage selection is because it said change course and car. So we've somewhere in here is a way to choose the course. No.
I feel like what just happened there is a memory that I'm having of every time I've ever played video games with anybody. Like, there's always a moment where it's my turn to like pick a character or some shit, and I just don't know, and we all sit there for a solid like 3 minutes, so they're like,
I think we're just playing
dude,
the same
it's
course.
you!
I think we're just playing the same course over and over. Anyways. But yeah, the whole mentality is just to bring attention to people. Like, I was thinking about this, and some of the podcasts I listen to, MC Lars' podcast, whether you like nerdcore or not, like, has been very motivational, and he brings on guests that talk about some of the processes about promoting and the way bands should go. And,
That's interesting.
but there's been a common theme I've noticed across a couple of them, that there is the people that seek out, like, the popular. Let's go with the trend. Let's just hit it strong, and then they fizzle out because they just face the trends. And I'm like, oh, that's...
Do you mean even in the music that they're producing, or do you mean like...
they're going, like, nerdcore rappers singing about whatever the most popular game is right now.
Yeah.
They're just chasing the trend to get people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. Instead, write the songs that they want to do. Even MC Lars talked about on one of them that I think he did one album where he was like kind of going to I'm nerdcore, everyone likes video games, so he kind of did that, and then he kind of fell back to doing what he calls lit hop. He's a big literature nerd, and he realized, you know what, I'm just gonna do what I want, and people are gonna like it if they like it, and not if they don't. It works, but they've all said it's kind of still a grind, but if you are authentic and you're doing what you want to do rather than just chasing popular, it usually pays off more in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've stuck with too.
Yeah.
Because I had a moment where I'm like looking at numbers, and the show is growing, but slowly.
Oh shit.
And I was like, should I just pursue all the like big popular bands just for like ratings, or no? I want to bring people on that I want to bring in front of people.
Yeah.
I want you to know about It's Embarrassing. I want you to know about some of these bands that maybe you weren't paying attention to before.
Yeah. That's the ideal, I think, is just kind of do what you want.
So that's the goal, and I know not every week's going to be like the strongest week of people clicking on it on YouTube, but that's fine.
And maybe that's where like podcasting gets a little kind of weird too, is that like, you know, I discovered podcasting through like, I don't know, Kevin Smith or whatever, like 10 years ago, and I haven't been like super faithful to just listening to all this shit.
Yeah.
So what happens is like I'll go through like kind of waves of being really into it and digging in and all that shit. And what ends up happening is I'll find a podcast that I like and I'll go back like years and I'll just start like stockpiling guests that I would be into and just start listening to it all. And what it's made me realize about podcasting is I'm building something right now with my podcast that is probably not even going to find the people that would dig it or whatever for years. They'll just go back into like old episodes and they'll find shit. So it's more like my motivation is kind of just keep going. Just keep doing it. Why? Because most people that care about that episode aren't even going to know that it exists because the internet's a fucking endless pool of way too much information for years. So just the fact that you did it means something. And it will mean something to somebody someday. So don't worry about how many plays it gets today or this week or even this fucking year. But that being the case, to your point, I can see it growing. And I'm like, well, I hope that's good.
So kind of answering your question about like, man, do I want to get Real Big Fish on here? I mean, I would love to get Real Big Fish on here. But
you're
that's
going
not
to.
the
Just
target.
because we put it into the universe right now, like 3 years from now, they're going to... Which sucks, because they just put out their first like new record in a long time. So this will be
in like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, have they been just staying at it?
Candy Coated Fury was the one before this one.
Oh, fuck me.
Was it?
I think I just assumed that like the 90s ate like ska punk, like it just kind of went away.
Kind of.
I guess mostly because like I went and saw Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish a few years ago, and it just felt like they were playing the oldies, like they were just playing like the stuff that works.
Did they play Everyone Else Is an Asshole?
Yep.
That's off Candy Coated Fury. That's what, a 3-year-old album?
Is it only?
Yeah.
Shit. Well, alright, what the fuck do I know? That's a great song.
Yeah, so they've been still producing it. They've had turnover.
Makes sense. That's a very mature song. That's not like
Everyone Else Is an Asshole.
that's not like a first band's first album song. Like that's a song that you've lived some life to kind of write.
Well, and they're a band that I enjoy. Well, now it's just Aaron. Plus, actually, it's been so long now. So it's with Johnny Christmas, Matt Appleton, and a couple of them have been playing with Real Big Fish for so long now that it's like, oh, this is the normal Real Big Fish. And I'm like, wait, no, it's not. Holy shit, they've been playing in this consistently for so long now. I'm just like, yeah, they're cool too. This is Real Big Fish now.
That's true. Like bands going through, I don't know, kind of arcs or whatever, where like the main people stay where they are. I like Goldfinger. Poor fucking John Feldman trying to keep that shit together because nobody's fucking stuck around.
Feldman is another.
Just him.
John Feldman's another story.
Uh-oh.
Well, he chased pretty much all of those original members out. I remember...
Of Real Big Fish?
No,
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, yeah. Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like all I ever
'Cause he
hear
also
about
didn't-
him is that he's the nicest fucking guy and he's such like an empowerer and he just like helps bands get to where they're trying to go.
Crap, what's his name? Who drummed with them? Who's also with Punk Rock Karaoke? I'm forgetting his name right now. But I saw his post when he left the band, and he's like, I'm not going to publicly disclose it. I wish him the best, and I'm walking away.
Wow.
And that had been what I heard. It was kind of a little of an ego. I'm sure he's still a nice guy. But at least internally, it was kind of an ego fight.
Ryan Schmidt just shared this fucking, the bass player from Idiot King just shared this fucking article that I don't even ever stop to click on this.
Wait, did he
this
share the one
clickbait
I
shit.
shared?
Did you share too? The one of the drummer of Jimmy Eat World
Yes.
being like, the singer
shared
of the
my
Red
post.
Blind's a fucking douchebag?
He shared my post.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Because I came across that and I just started laughing, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Wait, like on so many levels, I'm just like, wait, hold on a second. The most indifferent drummer of all time is trying to say that this guy's a dude. Have you listened to Semi-Charmed Life? Like,
Yes.
the guy's lived like a fucking hard life. Of course he's gonna be a douchebag. Why does that matter enough for you to like be vocal about it on fucking Twitter?
And I'm in my head, I was like, this is probably pretty obvious to most outside observers.
And I'm pretty sure, like, Red Blind's a bigger band than Jimmy Eat World. So you guys got taken on the road by a bigger band, just like you have been by Foo Fighters and all these great bands. Like, why are you bitching about it? What's and I feel like the whole,
post-tour.
it's post-tour, right? Like after they've already, yeah, exactly.
Well, he also commented, people were like, why didn't you just tell it to his face? He's like, how do you know I didn't tell it to his face?
Which is kind of the worst way of saying, because I didn't want to. It's him actually saying, okay, so I didn't tell it to his face?
Yeah.
But even the things he was bitching about were just like, oh, they're not going to wear fucking lapels, or
the laminates.
Like, just know who they are. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, you would know who they are, because it's the band, like every roadie, every whoever, like it's the fucking band that you got hired to do your thing for. Like, you should know who your boss is.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like part of what irritates me about it is I've never heard the drummer of Jimmy Eat World say fucking anything. So why now and why this? Like, why would this upset you enough to fucking say something? on top of the fact that it's just like, I don't know, and maybe I'm just being a low-level independent like guy at this point and bitch, but it's like, that's such a fucking, what's the word, like a,
I just find it funny.
I can't think of that fucking phrase where you're like complaining about something that you
passive aggressive.
That you, yeah, like you really, you're above the tier where you should have like the, what do you fucking call it? It's not a humble brag. It's the opposite of humble brag. Like it's where you're bitching about something that you're not in the echelon to have the right to bitch about that. Like I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I haven't been in a successful rock band for 30 fucking years. So what do I know about what the drummer of Jimmy Eat World has been going through? I don't know how to play this game. I'm so good. I was just lining up fucking colors. I'm like, oh, that's not how this works.
So you have to put an orb on top of it, and then it'll break them at the same time.
Oh, the orb does it?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, I've lost. Now I
We
don't.
can restart. Oh wait, I don't. There's no quit.
Let it happen. Let it all just
happen. Let it just happen.
It's just video game rape at this point. I don't know, just whatever. It's happening. Close your eyes. It's all gonna be over in a minute.
I forget what this says. We'll find out. Oh, I didn't do anything.
If anything, I hope that like there's that maybe no one knew about it, and so it's just gonna go away.
Disappear.
And yeah, but I kind of hope that it gets like some buzz, and then people start talking about it to the point that he has to comment further. I just want to hear him have to say something beyond what he's already said. Out of annoyance. I want to hear his annoyed voice just be like, all right, listen, here's the deal. Partly because if it's the first thing you're going to fucking say, why would you swing that hard?
Right.
It's the singer of one of the biggest bands of the 90s, and you're the drummer of one of the bands of the 90s.
I mean, they're more relevant, I think, now than Third Eye Blind is. Jimmy Eat World. Especially in Phoenix.
I mean, in Phoenix, I get you. And maybe that's the thing. I didn't notice the publication that actually even put out the article.
That was Consequences of Sound, I think.
But that's not local, right?
Yeah. Well, also, I think the lead singer of Third Eye Blind had some drug... Well, that's every...
I mean, he must have. Like, Sanderson Life is about that.
Had drug issues that he supposedly recovered from. I remember that was the second concert ticket I ever bought a ticket for, by the way.
Third Eye Blind?
At the Webb Theater.
Oh, wow.
Off of Van Buren that doesn't exist anymore. Or at least the venue doesn't exist anymore. The building's there. With, I think, Bryce or something weird. I didn't even like... But it was like, dude had long hair, and then like the next time I see Third Eye Blind, he's like flat top. I'm like, dude, you just like grew up, didn't you? But apparently, according to the drummer of Jimmy Eat World, he didn't grow up. I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Which again, even like, I mean, grow up is fucking relative. Like, he's in a rock band. Like, you, drummer of Jimmy Eat World, also have not fucking quote unquote grown up. Although you're in a successful rock band, like you get to tour the world and entertain people. I don't know. Maybe I guess there was a lot of little things that just super surprised me about it. Where I'm like, this band's been touring for like decades, and as far as I can tell, you're the first person that said anything. Like, why did it bother you? And everybody else was like, oh no, that's just Third Eye Blind. That's how they roll. But you're like, no, fuck this guy. He's a douchebag. Like, of all words to use. Douchebag?
Yes.
Come on, bro. Dig deeper. Dig deeper into your insults.
Guess we'll
I
just do
suck
this.
at this game a lot. I really
We can
like.
switch.
I don't want to suck
I'm noticing.
at it. But I can't
like,
not suck at it. I don't know how to not suck at it.
We can switch.
Oh, hang on. I got. There it is.
You are doing better this round. I can say this.
I can't. If it was Tetris, I swear to you, I'd be killing. It's just that I don't understand the rules of this universe. I can't see how different things like actually relate to one another, so I don't know how to set it up to make it work.
Stronger attacks or whatever are the bigger combos you make, but you can still trigger even small ones.
That sounds fancy. Yeah, Bucks. There it is. It's all over. Oh, no, not. I'm still in the game.
So, like, I can just do 2 if I wanted.
Like that big block. I'm like, why did that thing just turn into a big block? I don't know. It looks real pretty and fancy. And now it's all blown up. Yeah, like, I don't... This thing's just throwing me bones now.
Holy
It's
crap.
just like, he's a weak player. Let's see if we can get him through this
you
round.
just jumped a bunch on me. Holy crap.
Oh, this is coming to you when I do that?
Now, you just won.
Oh, dude. And that it's like, I thought we were playing Street Fighter, and I was all excited, and then they're just standing there, and we're playing Tetris, so I don't understand.
Or a puzzle-like
What's
game.
happening right now?
Well, you figured it out because you won a round. Yeah, no, I fell off that Third Eye Blind train a long time ago.
I mean, that first album, I'll still listen to it, I don't know, probably once or twice a
Was
year.
it Blue and the self-titled? Or like...
But Blue, I know. Like the self-titled, yes. The Blue, I did not dig, and I haven't dug anything since then. So I'm not even sitting here like bragging on Jimmy Eat World's drummer as a fan. Like I'm a loose fan. It's more just like, what did you expect out of this human?
Him to be human sounds like.
At least says douchebag. My first thought, before even reading the article, I figured it was like another Louis C.K. story. I'm like, oh shit, he's about ready to tell us some stuff that went down. And then it just turns out that he's like, no, he's just a silly boy. I'm like, okay, now I don't. I mean, sincerely, like, I've been playing music for, live for like 10 years and shit, and I've been around my share of like douchebags and assholes. But I also don't fault them. Because, like I said earlier, like when I got into this, originally it was like, I want to write music, I want to like front a band, I want to do that. And then I started like being in bands and realizing that, all musicians are pretentious assholes. So you just kind of have to, that's the game. If I'm going to be in this sport, that's the game I get to play. That all musicians are in it for them, just like you're in it for you. And so you just got to play the game. And that's what it feels like, is that this drummer of Jimmy Eat World has decided that he doesn't want to play the game anymore. He's over the game. He's like above the game. And I'm like, I mean, dude, the game even ate Axl Rose. Let's really think about this. Like, no one's made it out. No one's made it out alive. Why do you think that you have the right to, I don't know, make it hard on... And I guess that's the point. I don't even think what he said made impact at all. I don't even think the singer of Third Eye Blind knows that it's out that he said it. Like,
I found it funny. That's why I shared it. I'm like...
I wish Jim would have said it, because I'd have been like, singer on singer, let's get him in the ring, I'm ready. But the fucking drummer?
Yes.
The most inconsequential... If the keyboard player would have said it, it would have been even funnier to me, because I'm like, more inconsequential. At least the drummer's an original member, so like he has a little bit of...
Do you want to try something else, or do you want to try your luck at this again?
I mean, I was getting a hang of it. Is there a more Tetris-y kind of version of this?
No, that's the way it is.
I'm good. I can do this.
All right.
This I can do. I hope people watching are interested in what's happening. Here, I'll change characters. We'll make this funner, right? I don't know who Donovan is, but I'm him now.
Oh, that's funny. I got my notification. I was supposed to be in LA with a reason unknown. Because I blocked it off so I wouldn't... Also, you can adjust your difficulty if it matters. It's the handicap.
I mean... Alright. You know what? We're going to do that. Maybe that'll help me get used to the game more, and then I can get back up on your level.
Is that Dan dressed as Chun-Li?
Speaking of Street Fighter, are you a fan of like the franchise, like the films, any of the shit? Like, do you go deep with this shit, or is it just?
I've watched the anime. I watched that weird early 2000 Raul Julia film. I never did watch what was it? The Legend of Chun-Li movie though. With what's her name who played Lois Lane on Smallville.
Did she?
Yes. She also was in Eurotrip as the girlfriend that Scotty doesn't know about cheating on him.
Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Is the song Scotty doesn't know about that?
Yeah, it's about that in the movie.
I didn't know that at all.
His longtime girlfriend has been cheating on him the entire time. And with Matt Damon's character, Matt Damon plays the lead singer of a punk band, and he wrote the song Scotty Doesn't Know.
I have no idea.
And then as a running joke in that movie, the song keeps showing up throughout the movie, even in Europe.
The fucking 90s, man.
That was a movie I wrote off, and then like a random, like hanging out with friends, turn on a movie on like Cinemax or something at like 1 a.m. and be like, "Oh, it's Eurotrip, it's one of those movies," and then you're like, "Wait, this is actually really good, isn't it?" Yeah. Why did we discount it?
I mean, because, same reason we discounted Dude, Where's My Car? Like, on some level, it's like, I don't know. I think this might have been a swing and a miss. Anybody else? No?
Ashton Kutcher.
Fucking Ashton. All right, maybe you have an opinion on this. Just recently, on I think it was on Instagram, fucking Blink-182 and then Ashton Kutcher did this thing where they posted like a phone number, and if you send a text to the phone number, like it puts you in this thing where like they can text you directly with whatever, news, bullshit. And I did it for like both Blink and Ashton, and it's kind of mildly annoying now because Ashton will text like once every like 2 or 3 days with shit that has nothing to do with me. He's like, I'm on a fishing trip or some bullshit. But I'm also kind of like, is this, like, might this actually be, useful in the not too distant future? I'm not
More musicians are using it too, but I've started, it's like when back when they started doing newsletters and you're like, oh yeah, I want to know when band A is playing or whatever. And then after a while you're like, this is annoying. And I already know when they're playing, so I don't need this. Where's the unsubscribe button?
But I mean, since there is obviously a means of like unsubscribing to, or even just blocking the number or whatever, I'm curious, like, what kinds of success or what kinds of connection to their fan base they're going to be able to enjoy off of that. Because, I mean, you can respond to it, too. And Ashton's actually said, hey, thank you for all your responses. I'm sorry I can't get back to you individually, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, what kind of person responded to this? Because there's not enough, like, connectivity, really. Yeah. Like, no one, you're not going to get a response back. Why would you? It's basically like, when I'm on Instagram or some shit, if I enjoy a post and I want to like it, I'll always like scroll up so I can see how many likes it's already got. And if it's above 100, I'm like, who gives a shit? They're not going to be able to tell that I fucking liked it. Or if I want to comment on something, if it's already past like 100 comments, I'm like, literally no point that I leave anything on this. And yet, most posts have like thousands and thousands of comments and whole conversations going on in there. Yeah. And I'm just like, who is spending this much fucking time on Instagram? I can't figure this out.
Who was it? I was looking at Billy Joe Armstrong's, and he'll actually go in and reply every once in a while. But it's like when he has free time, and it's probably whatever he first notices that grabs his eye.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm going to scroll to the bottom and just start from the first person that replied to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that one. Oh, that one I'll reply. No, he's going to probably just look at the most recent stuff when he has time. A really good example is if you watch the Frank Turner documentary, as he was blowing up, like he tried to be super personal and talk to all his fans. Mm-hmm. And after a while, and like this is when that appears to be when the documentary took place. But it was like as he's blowing up and starting to get overwhelmed by it, like he can't keep up with everyone anymore, even though he wanted to be on a personal level with everyone.
Yeah.
He was trying to reply to every email fans sent him. He was trying to do.
Oh, that's rough.
And there's a certain point where it's just not manageable.
Yeah.
No matter where your heart is.
Yeah.
Like I also noticed. So when I first started watching him, he played at the press room twice. Mm-hmm. And the first time he came out and was like visiting with people, talking with people. The second time, nope, he didn't come out. And I'm like, he's starting to like realize he can't be out there. Yeah. Otherwise he'll just be tied up in forever. Mm-hmm. Because he's getting too big for just casual walk out there and say hi to people. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, let him have his mental health.
Right? Mental health is a right, not a privilege. Like we should all be entitled to that. How has with you and your show and what have you, how have you been enjoying social media in the sense of people, I guess, hitting you back and keeping up with like comments or direct message or stuff? Is it melting your brain or is it pretty manageable?
It's mostly manageable. Let's do that.
There's an undertone to that.
Well, because some people, which I guess it's impressive that they think this, but don't realize I'm still one person doing all of this. So sometimes I get messages and stuff, and I'm like, I'm only one person. Do I have time to do this? I don't know if I have time to do this. And also, I'm running around so much that my brain isn't always like looking at everything anymore as frequently as I should. I probably should put that somewhere else. So let's do that.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Here I am, like,
oh shit!
Oh dear God!
Yeah! Out of nowhere! Out of nowhere!
But like, and I brought that up on, was it Skull Drug, or on one of the last couple of weeks I brought it up where I really appreciate people hitting me up and be like, check out my band. But at the same time, if I encourage that and everyone starts doing it, I don't have time to listen to all of it. I don't have time to be like, oh, this is awesome. This is cool. I still have a day job. I still have, and you guys can't help me. That's ideally where the Patreon is supposed to be, where it's supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
It was also, the reason I have the Patreon is because I still somewhat karmic in my philosophy on things. And I hate advertisements. And I figure if you can give me money versus me having to go to advertisements, then that's ideal.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, everyone does not have that much money to give everyone that they love.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's also part of like this show. I'm hoping at some point I can also be infusing like a MeUndies ad or Audible or something. And add a little add a revenue stream that way.
And I hate to be such a tool sack, but if you do get to that point, maybe shoot me an email. Let me know how the fuck that happened, because I absolutely would. I mean, on some level, just because it would be nice to quit my day job and just do the podcast as like a thing, but I feel like that's also like really idealistic in the sense that people who can do that, they started a podcast after they were already successful with something else, like a comedian or whatever. So
that's like one of my favorites is Kind of Funny Games. But they rode the coattails of being former IGN editors. They, like Game Over Greggy there, he was the host of their show up at noon for like 2-3 years. Like he popularized it. So he was already in front of a lot of eyes, and people are already like, oh, I'm going to follow you to your new project. So, yeah. To go back to an MC Lars podcast, I forget which guest it was, but he talked about, he's like, some of it is talent and some of it is just luck. The odds are exponential that you're going to stand out amongst everyone.
Yeah.
But if he still reaffirmed, at least if you are doing it for the right reasons, you're being authentic. So, because for the most part, people can pick up on this isn't the real fucking Joe or this isn't the real Adam.
Yeah.
So staying authentic. There's no age thing to it. They brought up, I forget which musician, that there's like, he disappeared and he came back in his like late 30s, early 40s and blew up. And it's just like, there's no like age saying you're out of it once you're past 22 or whatever. So don't get in that mode either, but do it because you want to do it, and then hopefully it'll do it. It was his recommendation, his advice. Oh, fuck.
I feel like I thought that the color of the circle things mattered, and then I realized they don't. I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing this wrong.
Like, strangely, of all the podcasts, the MC Lars one, where I'm like, I know only like 25% of his guests. I'm like, the rest of them, I'm like, I don't know who this is. Oh, okay, that's another nerdcore artist, or this is a dude that helped produce this album, or this is. I was like, huh. And they have like these people that have really good advice and like never crossed my radar.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but this is the stuff I need to hear. This isn't the like, man, I should be seeking out the NoFXs and everyone just be on my fucking show just to bring ratings.
Yeah.
It's like, no, do what you're doing as long as it's authentic and you enjoy it. And I enjoy it.
And the whole, like, I love the time in entertainment history that we live in, because I feel like it's a time when it's becoming more and more obvious that there's never a time at which past you can't do it.
Right, and that was even my lesson with school.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to college and got a second degree in something I knew I was more minded in, programming.
Yeah.
It kind of was a back thought anyways when I was at the art student. I'm like, I'm going to couple this with a programming degree, and I'm going to... But yeah, and at that time, indie games weren't as easy to just, like, the tools are out there now, and now it's just a matter of me finding the time or making the time. Like, that's still a goal for me, too. Even if it's not successful, just to make a game and put it on a marketplace and be like, cool, look, I got a game out.
Yes.
And be like, I did that, cool.
Weirdly, I think that's probably 40% of the reason that I started a podcast. Is just because I was listening to them so much, and I was like, what reason do you have to not be in this arena? Like, give me one excuse that you have to not be doing this. And I'm like, just because it would take time and thought and energy. And I'm like, nah, not good enough. You're getting in.
One of my... I listen to like 8 podcasts a week. Plus music, plus... Yeah. But one of them, Retronauts. So if you're wondering where some of my video game knowledge comes from.
It's good to know.
Retronauts, who they usually go and delve into a franchise or an older game. Mm-hmm. They did an episode of just like advice for podcasters, and they're like, edit. You need to edit. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't make the time for it, but that probably is a good idea.
And I feel like I kind of agree with them, and I'm also kind of like, yeah, but you can get by without that. Like, I don't know. I mean, depending on, I guess, maybe the nature of the guest. I think maybe what it is I feel like I would have to edit if I wasn't a better host. Like, if you can keep a conversation moving, if you know how to sort of steer things and ask questions and shit, like, editing becomes secondary to that.
Like, they edit to clean up, like, just empty noise, pauses where everyone's like,
But it's also almost like, okay, well, if I was on a stage as a stand-up comic, and if there was dead air for some reason, like maybe I don't know, I dropped my glass or something like that, what would I do if I was in that position? I would discuss it. I would make reference to it. I would make a joke out of it. I feel like it's the same in the podcasting arena. Like, if some shit happens, then you talk about it. If there's dead air or something, then you make a joke. Like, you just... It's almost like from the moment you hit record, the challenge is to fill the space. Fill the space with stuff, even if it's like awkward or weird. Or if you bring up something and the guy's like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about that. And there's like legal reasons or whatever, and then you're just like, oh, okay. And you just kind of like run away scared from that top. I don't know, it's just...
Well, that's why I like the nature that we're streaming live right now, if you're watching it on Twitch. But it's like, well, everything's out there.
Yeah.
And I try to warn everyone, if there's a show that hasn't been announced and you're not supposed to talk about, don't say it, because there's no editing it out of the live thing, and it's going to get archived for like, what, 60 days, I think? 90 days? So it's going to be on Twitch. Even if I put up an edited version of it to my YouTube, that information is going to be out there somewhere for someone to stumble upon. So...
Okay, so hang on. Walk me through this then. So I'm vaguely aware of what Twitch is in the sense that it's a live streaming platform for gamers to basically just play games.
And I think they do cooking streams now too.
Do they really?
Yes. He's nodding his head. Yeah.
So it's just turning into like Vine, but not 6 seconds?
Well,
like...
Amazon. I didn't mean to say Adam. They're just A names.
Come on.
But Amazon acquired Twitch 2 years ago now, and they've, I think, been part of that push. Though I think the cooking thing came in before they were shopping around for a buyer. That they were just looking for ways to expand things to do on Twitch.
Wow.
So, but yeah, there's cooking stuff on here now. So if you're hungry, after the stream's over, don't leave yet. You can go. You can go watch some cooking stuff.
What a delightful medium.
God, what was?
But anyway, so Twitch is a live. Point is, I guess it's a live streaming atmosphere. And then you were mentioning that you also then take the footage from that and like edit it into a YouTube.
Yeah, it goes on my YouTube. YouTube.com/RVTrade. Also, I put it into an audio podcast for.
Okay.
Which episode 4 never listened to that as an audio podcast, but it's there. That was the episode I learned about why to always check levels when you start a game. and start a stream. Because if someone's not there actually actively telling you in the chat that this is kind of fucked up, you're going to go on for the whole hour with it fucked up. And then you're going to go back and watch it or listen to it and go, oh, fuck. Which again, I'm sorry, Andy. It was his episode from Nito.
Oh!
I
didn't even know he was fucking on your show. Man, I gotta go back and watch.
He's a big Gears of War fan, and so we played Gears of War. So by pure luck, apparently, the first 3 weeks, none of the consoles output had a volume higher than the microphone volumes I had set. And so I'm like, I had no thought of this. Alright, whatever. Continue on. And then we did the Gears of War stream. And turned out that anytime someone talked or gunfire, conversation was going. And I'm like, son of a bitch, there's no going back an hour and a half ago and redoing any of this. Like, this is just this. And I'm just gonna have to learn. And I texted Andy, I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, don't worry about it, I just had fun. I'm like, cool. But I still feel bad about this. Fuck.
There may not be a sweeter human being than Andy Higgins. And, the funny thing about that is, I had him and Kristen on at the same time.
And they're such a perfect match for each other.
They are, but, and maybe he was high or something, but, he was also, really quiet. Me and Kristen had most of the conversation. And I was like, Andy, I know you have fucking stories, man. He
has plenty
you're
of
all
stories.
over the world all the time. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But it was fun. I still enjoyed hanging out with him and talking with him.
But yeah, I still converted it to an audio podcast, so the numbering is still correct on the podcast feed.
Got it.
And I recorded a separate opening warning everyone if they do listen to that one.
Yeah?
That the conversation gets drowned out pretty regularly. But it's there. The podcast is there. And every episode after that, we learned to check the levels of the microphone versus the game audio. It was a learning experience. But because I converted to audio, I also now picked up on stuff. I was just telling him, I'm like, last week was probably our best audio. I didn't even have to clear any noise off. I didn't have to do anything. I normalized it so it's a little more of a volume that's akin to the episodes before and after it. But it seemed pretty clean to me. I was like, this is awesome. Less work for me. I just had to convert it to an MP3 and throw it onto the feed. So that also exists. If you want to listen to this, you don't get the visual fun of seeing how horribly Adam's kicking my ass at Puzzle Fighter. But
horribly and accidentally, I might add. There's nothing really intentional happening here. It's just kind of...
But you can still hear, I think, a little bit of the game audio underneath us talking even on the podcast.
It's so rad.
Yeah, no, it's just I wanted to talk video games, and I know a bunch of musicians play video games, and it also gives an outlet to help promote local musicians and have some fun. That's the whole point of this.
It's really becoming just even at the Idiotkin show and stuff, it was so funny how excited Jeremy was from actual psychic violence. He just bounced over to me. He's like, dude, check Instagram. Every single show already put our pictures up. It's fucking awesome. I'm yeah, that's cool, bro. Right on. But just the power that you are gaining, or maybe just already have, and it's just spreading over magnificently of spreading the word of.
Maybe it's modesty and modesty, but I'm I never think I'm that big. But then I keep having people tell me stuff, and I've had it presented in front of me, and then I kind of just ignore it again.
You're nah.
I'm not that big. I don't know what you're talking about. I had, two anecdotes. The first one personally I experienced and was humbled by it was Punk Rock Bowling in May. Mm-hmm. Not only did I have people that I knew from Arizona coming up to me, I had people coming up to me dude, you're an inspiration for me. I'm what? I mean, holy shit. But what? Well, how am I inspirational? I'm just doing this for the fun of it. But I had people from California, people from Colorado, Vegas, who knew who I was, and I'm what? I'm super humbled and don't know how to. Well, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It was Photo Sniper. What's his Instagram? And that photo just appeared. Someone tagged me. Not the other one that I noticed today. Everyone's noticing, but which apparently I'm being noticed again. Shocking. But I don't think of myself as that. And who was it? Friend Erin. She was telling me she has friends from California and Vegas being like, not believing her that she knows me. And I'm like, what? I'm not even that fucking big. What the fuck?
That's amazing.
I'm not Why wouldn't she know me, for one? Especially if I'm supposed to be at every show, she should be running into me. But two, what? I'm not on that level. What the fuck are you making me into? Or at least I don't think I'm on that level. Holy crap, you're repeating that.
By accident. But you are. Like, it's almost like you're proving something that is becoming more and more proven by other people, and that's that it's not that you're on that level, it's that you're making that level. You're inventing a level by your very
Which wasn't even...
Lord, what did you just do to me?
Revenge is what it's called.
Suck my dick is what that's called.
But like, it was never my intention. This goes back to, might have been pre-podcast, where it just, a lot of this, or maybe it was when we were talking about the homemade shaker. Yeah. It feels like the universe willing it and being like, well, it is something I like to do. Fuck it. I'll keep doing it. But it wasn't like my goal. It wasn't never my intention.
Yeah.
It was just like, this came out of stuff that people were like, cool. And I'm like, all right, cool, we'll keep doing it.
And maybe like a weird time of history that we're living in right now is like, people are just they're so loud and they're so vocal and there's so many thoughts and feelings out there that most people, I think, are leaning out of culture and society. Most people are keeping their mouths shut and just trying to keep their opinions to themselves. So it's unique for someone like you or someone like me to like sit down with somebody and have a conversation that's recorded and out there and to just be speaking real time and just our real thoughts and our real feelings going out there. Like it comes off as ballsy or like confident when really it's not. Like, we're just and maybe I'm just speaking for myself and not you, but like, I'm not really worried. I have enough enemies. There's enough people out in the world that don't think that I'm, anything special, that I just don't have anything to lose. Like, just having conversations with people.
That is part of it.
Become public.
It's like, I have the time and I enjoy it, so why not?
Why not is right. That's podcasting in a word. Why not? Why not just sit down with your friends? And I think that's why I did like people like Kevin Smith that really are not just doing it, but are a huge advocate.
Well, he's
for
even
it. Just trying to put everybody.
For the most part, he's modest still to this day, and it's just like,
which is weird, right?
Actually, he is modest because he talks shit about himself, self-suffocating. Like,
all the time.
I wish I could have like the prop to direct a Marvel movie. You guys give me way too much credit. And it's like, I guess we are, but we would love you to make one.
But I love that he knows who he is, to the point that he's like, well, that Marvel movie would be 3 people standing around a water cooler talking to each other. Like, that's my lane. That's what kind of movie I would make. And you guys don't want to see that movie. You want to see, fucking Joss Whedon, like, put Captain America in flight. Like, that's what you want.
And he's like, I'm still one of you guys. I'm like the one going wide-eyed and like, holy fuck, Captain America and Thor on the same screen.
Yep.
I didn't think I'd see that in my lifetime.
I feel like that's one thing that Kevin Smith and I have in common is that, frankly, I'm a fan first. I'm an audience member first, and I'm a podcaster or a filmmaker or a musician second. I don't want to ever get to the point where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm the motherfucker that made that. You're damn right. Like, no, dude, my albums are second class. I do everything on GarageBand. Like, it's all real whatever. But
he's like, I'm the dude that wrote that movie about clerks, and dudes talking about sucking their own dick.
Yeah.
And somehow people look up to me.
And just that he has the confidence to be able to embody that and to go do like speaking assignments at colleges and do all this shit, but he's also got the humility to like not I don't know, just let it take over his ego or even to present. And what the fuck is going on here? What?
And you just got the crystal and rebounded for the most part, and now you just fucking holy crap. What can I do here?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Nothing.
That doesn't work at all.
Have it!
Let's do that. Does that work? That kind of got me some ground there. I'm so screwed. Oh, wait.
Good.
No, I'm still kind of screwed. Let's see what happens here. Need a blue one? Oh, thank God. We might have something here.
I feel like the happiest day for me is a future day. Son of a bitch. That was last second. I loved it. Where, like, Arizona has kind of an entertainment scene. that like
Yes.
podcasters have started to pop up, and I don't know, maybe that'll affect like the film industry and the music industry, and
I've also kind of shifted a little bit. So I, as every person who supports music and loves to just express themselves and whatever, and be like, fuck this policy about so-and-so politician or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that, and I started realizing they always just turned out negative, and I'm like, fuck it. I have my views. You probably know what my views are. I'm not going to tell you about them. Said the last, I don't even know how many months now, I'm like, no, I'm just going to spread things that I fucking like, and I'm going to spread positive things, and you have your views on politics, and I may not agree with them. I'm not going to go into it, but I'd rather spread positivity.
Yeah.
Because all this shit is just dividing us and making people feel like shit. And I want you to see my enthusiasm because that Off Their Heads album was fucking awesome that came out yesterday. Or what else? What's another? I'm like, now all I can think of is Off Their Heads. Invader Zim, that awesome one. Or Kevin Smith is making a new movie. The Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I can't even. Like, I'm trying to figure out if I want to put out the stand-up live cash to go see the touring show.
That's the only thing though. It's like it's more expensive than watching like 3 punk shows.
Yeah.
And it has a 2-drink minimum on top. And you're like, do I want to drink and pay for like $6 drinks on top of a $50 ticket?
Yeah.
Or do I just want to
just go to the theater and just do it that way? Yeah.
I did watch Clerks 2 with him. In the theater, I should say, not like sitting next
to him. But at like where he was there.
Yeah,
he did, like,
one of the last years I went to Comic-Con San Diego was when Clerks 2 came out, and it came out that exact weekend.
Oh, that's fun.
So, and you could light rail it on San Diego's light rail over to the theater, so I got a ticket, and he did a Q&A after.
Oh, nice.
Also, no one ever actually listens, I should put that out there, because he's like, don't give me your script, I don't want to read it, blah, 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 and of course, still like 5 questions in. So I brought my script, will you read it? And he's like, no. I just told
like,
you
the thing I just said, that thing over there?
that you ignored completely. And it's like, you still are like holding out hope that he's gonna read it, and it's not even because he thinks he might hate it.
I think the thing that I hate the most about people that do that is that they're not listening. Because if you're listening to Kevin Smith, what you hear is, I took out credit cards and I went 30 G's in debt to make Clerks. Like, but it was possible, and he said this multiple times, that like I was gonna make Clerks, that it wasn't gonna get picked up, and what was gonna happen, like the end game of Clerks was gonna be me sitting in my house with my friends with my bullshit grocery store job, watching a movie just to be like, you ready? Ready? Oh, look at that asshole that made this stupid movie that no one cares about. Like, just for the shits and giggles of the fact that it ever even existed.
Yeah.
And they're not listening. They're just like, hey, would you read my... No one read his script, bitch. Like, go...
It's a liability reason that he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Because then if he takes it and then writes a movie and there's even a scene similar, it's like, he stole my fucking idea.
Yeah.
I'm suing him.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he can't do it because you might hold it accountable. Even though you seem like a nice person right now, you might hold him accountable.
There's no way he thinks that. There's no way he thinks these are nice people. He's like, you motherfuckers, wasting my time. Yeah, I get a paycheck for it, but still, shit. Be home with my fucking kid, getting high.
Which he started including in his career now.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me. I'm like, you have a really... This sounds weird, I think, from me, but you have a really hot daughter. You just keep spreading pictures of her around the internet across a kind of interesting fan base that you... Are you sure you want her in front of this fan base?
He's putting a ton of trust in his fucked up fans to not say some shit about his daughter. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not even a father, and I still would be like, I don't know if I put my like really attractive daughter in front of this audience that...
I feel the same way about Judd Apatow. Like, his daughters grew up, and he just, and they all have their own Instagrams, their own bullshit now, but like he talks about like the little festivals and shit that they're doing, or the little whatevers, and has pictures of them up there. Like, I even posted something at one point, and I don't know if he either never saw it or if it like pissed him off so he didn't answer it or whatever. But it was like, I think at the same time, like I had become aware that Maude has her own fucking Instagram at around the same time that I did that Frances Bean Cobain does.
Huh.
And I just thought about how like close they are in age and sort of in situation, that they were raised with like famous fathers and stuff. So I just shot him a message. I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about this? Or a comment on one of his posts. Have you ever thought about like the similarities between like Maude and Francis and da-da-da? And there was never a response, and I'm always curious if that's because I like hit a nerve and he thinks I'm an asshole, or if it just never got to him because the ocean of comments. But stuff like that interests me.
God. Kevin Smith, the Mallrats, my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Is it really?
Yes.
It's the most referential one. Like, there's so many.
That's true, too.
Just little, like the video games, like the hockey game he's playing when he first wakes up and just.
Yes, Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned for Sega. This is the appropriate avenue to make that quote, too, by the way, on this show.
So good.
Brody.
Brody.
Jason Lee, former skateboarder.
Fucking. How many careers has Kevin Smith made? Jason Lee, Ben Affleck.
Right.
Fuck.
And Matt Damon's coming back as Loki? Or was he Loki?
Is he really?
Yeah. He's reprising his character from Dogma. In the reboot, to my knowledge.
Reboot?
To my knowledge.
I watched like the whole YouTube series that he did of like behind the scenes bullshit, and I didn't.
That's why that scene in the trailer has him in a church.
Oh shit, that's a good idea.
Because they killed Ben Affleck.
yeah, he is.
God, I think, killed him.
He's Jesus dead, yeah, for sure. He's
Alanis
Morissette dead. Oh, Ben.
That's playing on nostalgia. It's like every Kevin Smith nostalgia.
Oh, Batfleck. How we miss you.
He's no longer a Batfleck. I don't even know who Batfleck is anymore.
No, there's what's it? Robert Pattinson, I guess, is the next one they're fucking throwing in. Oh shit! I can't wait. I'm going on record right now. I can't wait to see ripped Robert Pattinson. Like when he just gets all worked out and he's ready for that fucking role.
Was he never ripped in Twilight's movies?
I mean, he was toned, but I don't know. Stop it. You haven't seen the whole fucking series? Come on.
I
quit it.
Thankfully have not had a girlfriend.
Oh, stop it.
Anytime those movies came out.
Oh!
And it wasn't intentional.
You have to. They're so good.
I didn't have like an embargo of like, all right, Twilight movie's coming out, no girlfriend for this stretch of period.
Oh. Now I just want to sit down and do like a commentary podcast with you on the entire Twilight series, just to get your first impressions from everything.
Well, let's do our own riff tracks. All right, if you're timing it, hit play now. All right, let's go.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen or taken the time to like set up and watch the whole Wizard of Oz Pink Floyd thing, Dark Side of the Rainbow? Holy shit!
I haven't watched Wizard of Oz in years.
I mean, first of all, shame on you. You gotta watch that.
I've seen
every 3 years. It's a great film.
I've seen The Great and Powerful Oz more recently than I've seen the actual Wizard of Oz.
Oh, is that the fucking Zach Braff thing? Is that?
No, that was the Sam Raimi directed with God, what's his name? Green Goblin there. He played Oz. Or his son.
Oh, James Franco.
Yeah, he played. He played Oz.
Yeah, you're right.
And it had Mila Kunis.
Fuck, she's beautiful.
She played what would become the evil witch of the West.
Yeah, that's true. She did. Oh, that's right. Because like they didn't show it in the trailers, but when you see it in the movie, like the makeup's just fucking awful. Like it's really.
God, that movie. Now I'm thinking about her transformation. It's as bad as when Anakin became Darth Vader. No, even before that. Annie, you're breaking my heart. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Like, come on, Annie? What the fuck?
You're telling me he physically damaged your heart and so you're gonna die in childbirth suddenly? To the twins that would become Luke and Leia? You know, spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't watched Star Wars in the last 20 years. But I'm just like, this is the most outrageous. And even his fight with Obi-Wan in the lava, like this whole scene.
You have done that yourself!
This is so stupid. Though I was just reading in this last month or so that actually there's an old interview with George Lucas that actually was his plan 30 some years ago. Like it actually was supposed to be like them fighting in a volcano. They're like, so this fight was supposed to happen like this, but this is so dumb.
The irony being that like back in the Indiana Jones days, like a fight in a volcano would have been badass, but like for some weird reason, technology just got to a point that I was like, no, I don't think this is okay anymore. I don't think we need to go past this. Let's think bigger.
Jar Jar.
That's Senator Banks to you, my friend.
To be fair, and not everyone accepts this argument, but the Clone Wars animated series kind of did revive and make him a decent character.
I've seen a few episodes, like people have talked it way up like it's awesome,
But
I feel like it's one of those things where the storylines in it are badass, but it's kind of hard for me to grab
some people
onto.
don't accept that argument. Also, the Clone Wars is the best of the prequels, so if you want to watch anything that's good, that's the only thing that was good.
Yeah.
Was the Clone Wars animated series, and that's because they brought in writers who knew how to write. Like even Paul Dini, we can circle us back to Batman. Paul Dini wrote episodes of the Clone Wars, known for doing the animated series, known for doing some amazing writing work. He created Harley Quinn. He's co-creator. He created her, writing her, and Bruce Timm did the art for her.
Oh, okay.
Or wait. Fuck, am I getting that screwed up? No, Bruce Timm is the artist. Yeah, Paul Dini helped. He co-created her as the writer.
Got it.
So Harley is his baby. But yeah, he wrote episodes of Clone Wars. Like, it was amazing.
Does he have an opinion on Suicide Squad and how they decided to like whore out Harley Quinn?
I follow him on Twitter, but I don't remember his comments, or I wasn't paying attention at the time.
I guess that's a hard line to walk because, you know...
I think he was more happy that she's being embraced more. A character that didn't come from the comics originally, being embraced by not only the comic books now, but being embraced by the films, even if they're poorly executed on. That people are embracing her, his creation. Because I think she was the first character that DC had embraced that was not created in the comics.
Really?
That they brought into the fiction. Then also then Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, was another one. Like Bruce Timm, Dwayne, not Dwayne Pierce. He's an asshole. Dwayne McDuffie, Paul Dini, and Bruce Timm did such fantastic work in the establishment of even recreating characters. Like the archetype that people know from Mr. Freeze came from that series, and it was adopted by the comics. Like they liked giving him more of an emotional story, and it was pretty depressing for a kid's show what they did for Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. Like
his wife frozen with a rare disease that he was just working to cure, and then accidentally created an issue for himself.
Yeah.
Like, it's really sad.
I feel like there was an episode of Fat Man on Batman where one of the things I enjoyed the most about it is how they talked about how...
You're learning in Padawan.
How, like, the animated series, one of the things that was great about it that was sort of, like, underappreciated was how, like, adult the writing and the storylines were. That, yes, these are kids watching this, but these are really, like, well-written, well-thought-out, well-spoken, well-acted, like, storylines.
Well, and it came from huge fans of the comics.
Yeah.
They knew their lore. That's the real thing at the core. They knew these characters in and out. And then they still were able to give them their own angle on it that people enjoyed. Why do I have a warning? What are you going to do to me?
I was just fucking some shit up a minute ago, but now maybe it's this, maybe. That's getting dropped on your head right now.
This is not going to be good, Steve.
Oh, shit! Oh, see, that's what's funny about it. Like, they do actually do moves in the middle. I've been too focused on the technical.
Yeah.
Yeah!
We found the game to play for the rest of the episode.
Our apologies for the first half of the episode to the viewers.
Just entering my name. Be right back.
Oh, shit.
Also, I believe the patterns are also moves, so if you can line up patterns like...
Oh!
I don't think we have at all, but...
Okay.
We'll do food.
I'm trying to stay like 2 like difficulty. I don't want to like puss out completely, but this game is fucking hard.
We're engaging the brain at the same time we're discussing
Oh shit.
Batman Beyond.
We need to, you and I, we need to go see fucking Reboot together. Since I really just don't know that many people that are like have maintained as Kevin Smith fans, it's nice to have someone else in the arena to do that.
I forget which girl. One of my ex-girlfriends, we watched Tusk, and she's like, "I'm never watching that movie again."
Shit.
I'm like, it was pretty fucked up.
I've seen it like 4 times since the theater. Fuck that movie, just like...
Is that Justin Long, right? And,
yeah, it's so fascinating.
It's so screwed
Like,
up, though. You're
how
right.
jolting that was the first time you saw the fucking walrus, where you're like, oh!
Yes.
So great.
I still enjoyed Yoga Hosers. I don't know if I just went in with such low expectations, but I enjoyed Yoga Hosers.
Maybe I need to give it another swing. I couldn't. I got like 20 minutes in, I'm like, this is like lazy.
The
This
Bratzies.
is silly.
Well,
And I mean, Kevin's silly, I get that, but...
well, the last 2 movies he wrote while is on his current stoner days. To be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
He's adopted weed very wholeheartedly. I still think Red State is his darkest but most well-written movie.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't ever want to watch that one again. I'm like, this just made me so depressed.
Oh, that's... I love it.
But it was so
that
good.
That sense too.
And so...
He did a
so creepy.
Q&A. I think it actually turned into one of like his evening whiffs where he talked about the original ending to Red
Clerks?
State.
Oh, Clerks
And
had a
I'm
dark
like,
ending too, where Dante dies.
Holy shit. Like, basically it's like biblical. Like, the original ending to Red State was like when the horns were going off, and all, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen fucking Red State, when the horns are going off at the end,
Yeah.
that like
It is
Michael
coming.
Parks was going to give that same fucking speech, and then he was going to, like, you know, call to heaven or whatever, and there was going to be, like, real fucking angels that came down and, like exploded his head and, like, just started basically Armageddon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Kevin, yeah, that's a bit much for your clout, but I like where your head's at.
There we go. Rebound.
Damn it!
Yes, that is, I think, and like the conversation with John Goodman and what's his name, I'm just like, this is so, I mean, he's always been a good conversation writer, but I'm like, this is such good conversation.
Yes.
And this isn't even part of your View Askew-universe. And I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, have some of that. Yeah, enjoy that!
Alright, let's...
Return your perp and smoke it!
no, there's no recovery there.
Dang, that's good stuff coming too. I was just gonna keep that line below it.
Yeah, the View Askew-universe. I have the inaction figures from a couple of them.
Shut up.
I have the Steve
It's
Dave.
amazing.
I have the Steve Dave and Walt, the fanboy ones. I have them standing behind a Kevin Smith, fuck you, jersey figure right now in my apartment.
That's so good.
I have the whole Mallrats series and I have the whole Dogma series, including the Golgotham, the shit demon, for those wanting to know for clarity. I kept them in their packaging because they're in action figures, so I'm like, I already can't really move them, so they probably look better against the backgrounds of this packaging. Except I did take Walt and Steve Dave out, so they're standing free on their own.
I wonder sometimes if even with all the, you know, Jersey Rebel what bullshit that I'm sure they joke around about his friends and stuff, I wonder if his friends have a genuine emotional appreciation for how Kevin Smith has fucking helped them succeed.
Even further, Walt's the manager of Jan Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Mm-hmm. And a star of fucking AMC television now. Like,
right.
How many seasons is that show in?
That
like,
show
there's
educated.
no way that all those guys aren't fucking set, like,
Right.
financially.
That show still educated me. I was like, wait, that's so the Wolverine first originated in this issue. All right, well, I'll stop. But like,
So good.
in an issue of the Hulk
Uh-huh.
is when Wolverine first got introduced.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still like was learning shit from that show.
Yeah.
I continually like to learn. I don't care what facet it is.
That's good.
So documentaries, music, whatever. I continue to just. I mean, I already made a reference to Retronauts. Like, I'm listening to video game podcasts about history. Some of it I know. Some of it's like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning about everything. And
I feel like
love
the
it.
learning that I engage in nowadays is less like new information and more like new or learning from mistakes. Like there's some bands and stuff that I've kind of abandoned over the years, or different projects that I've just kind of fallen out of form with for whatever reason. And like now that I've lived life away from those things, and I've seen how much they actually do mean to me, even with all the things that I may not enjoy specifically about the little nuances of them and things like that, it's making me realize as an older person, it's like, I really need to commit myself more fervently to the things that I actually do love and that I actually do care about. I need to be a little bit more of a big boy, like a little bit more of a grown-up about the shit about entertaining and creating that's hard to manage, or that's hard to like deal with. So that's the learning I've been doing lately, is trying to be more...
Well, now that was the other thing I took from my health stuff and GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a different view and philosophy on life. Because it was just like, life's too short to commit to this corporation and it gives me nothing back.
Yeah.
So, what if I spent more time doing stuff that I actually care about and enjoy using my time for, rather than investing 55 hours of my week as a slave to this corporation? Where, like, at my worst, I'd work like a 10-hour, 11-hour day, and I'd go to the Walmart, get a 6-pack of beer and a Jack in the Box, and just block out the world. I just put on... I wouldn't even play video games. It killed that for me. I would just put on like a movie on Netflix or a movie on Blu-ray and just zone out the world. Like that, I never want to be at that place again.
In that I assume he probably won't ever watch this, I'll be comfortable talking about this. I have a friend that I've actually kind of fallen out of sorts with, but he went to school. Like, we were in bands and stuff when we were teenagers and stuff. He's one of the best guitar players I know, one of the best songwriters I know. Like, he's genuinely a genius. If he would have ever, like, actually sat down, recorded his shit, and put it out, I'm still convinced it would have, like, shaped and changed Arizona music. Like, really fucking good. But he was insecure, and he just never got to that space. And over the years, he ended up going to school. He ended up getting, like, a degree in, like, medical shit. Like, basically being able to do, like... blood work and stuff like that, and right now, like, he works very, very successfully in the medical industry. However, basically what his life has turned into is he goes to work, does this fucking complex job, makes, fucking 6 figures, and comes home every fucking day with like a 12-pack or some bullshit, and just comes home and just drinks it all the fuck away, goes to sleep and starts over the next week or day or whatever, and I just sit back and watch that and think, Did we really get to the end of the rainbow here? Like, is this what was supposed to happen? And I feel like he would say, because how do you admit it at that point? If you feel like you realize you've gone the wrong route, he would still defend it and say, oh yeah, this is it, living the dream. But I
that's
can't
not living.
Accept that. No, I can't. Judas Priest. Holy shit.
But
so it kind of loosely inspires me to like not let myself give up or give in to anything and just stay, even if it makes me the fucking 38-year-old, like, has been, never was, rock and roll, I don't know, not a burnout, but just kind of being a never was is a really complicated thing.
And so I'm pretty much, I say, agnostic. We'll go with that.
Yeah?
So, and I mean, it's still possible there is some afterlife. That's part of just like being open to investigating, but in case there's not, if I'm only living once, I might as well, now that especially after GameStop, it's just like, I might as well enjoy more of it.
Hell yeah.
Just in case.
Hell yeah.
That's the other thing.
And the weird thing is, the only like religious, I don't know, rebuttal or retort to that would be, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, da-da-da, and that's the sinner's mentality. And it's like, well, I mean, that's one interpretation of what he might have been trying to say then. Like, maybe open it up a little bit. Maybe see if there's something else in there. Because the truth is, we're animals. We're like evolved apes. And to try to treat us as something more God-like or godly than that, I think is error. And it's where religion kind of takes a misstep. Like, you are a creature far beneath what you're even insinuating that God is. Yeah. So maybe stop trying to be perfect. Because that's not, like, if we all accept that Earth is a place where perfection isn't possible, and it's a schoolyard, it's a ground for us to, like, attempt that, then stop shoving perfection down my fucking throat. Yeah. Like, we're here to learn shit, so why don't we try to figure out what we're here to learn and fucking learn it?
That too.
And to me, that's just life experience. Like, you're here to have experiences. So what does that mean? It means go out.
You're gonna make mistakes.
Do some shit. Make mistakes. Feel guilt. Feel shame, for Christ's sake. Like, that's what it's about.
And you can be a good person without any religious guidelines, despite what my mother thinks.
You can be. I
just threw that under the bus there. I never even told her my beliefs. She seems to have assumed my soul needs to be saved. And I'm like, I'm still a good person. I'm not trying to fuck people over. I don't see the problem in this.
Yeah, I got a similar thing. My mom's pretty... It's not that she's a bad person. She just has a really specific idea of what it's all supposed to be and what it's all supposed to look like.
She's worried that if I don't believe in God, my soul's not saved, no matter how good of a person I am.
Yeah, that's a pretty Christian disease. A Christian.
I'm like, I'm still being a good person.
Disease.
I don't know.
What the fuck? That's supposed to fall down. Bullshit.
But back to the other thing with your friend.
Yeah.
So I never thought, and I still don't think I'm the most socially normal person. But I kind of, through this, forced myself to be around people. And people approaching me as they're like, I recognize you. Mm-hmm. You were at the last 3 shows I've been at in the pit. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, talking to people, I've become less socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And I've benefited from that.
Yep.
But just getting myself out there helped make me more social, more normalized to it, even though I still think I'm awkward as fuck. But I still have my moments where I'm like, I kind of just gonna hang in this corner.
Yeah.
Or, well, I never hang in the corner. I'm always front and center, but I'm not gonna always be talking to people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I don't care that there's no one around me. I'm just gonna stand here and watch these guys play.
Yeah.
And so I still think I'm a little awkward socially, but I've gotten better, I would have to say. And it's all because I just put myself out there. I'm just like, okay.
And in a similar sense, I think that's one of the things that pushed me to start a podcast. Is it's like the older I'm getting, and the more like I don't know, I find myself retreating a lot more into my room with my iPad and just like alone time. And there's nothing wrong with alone time.
No, you need it.
But it was getting like so excessive that I'm like, oh, do you even have friends anymore? Does anyone know that you fucking exist? And so having the podcast sort of forces me to be social and to talk to people and to have substantive conversations with substance.
And that's been my general Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to make that a hiking day. I've been trying to make that a day of I don't have to work on anything if I don't want to, just relax.
Yep.
The last 3 months have had really good shows on Sunday nights for whatever reason. Usually I chose that day because it was usually the quietest day of my days off from work.
Yeah.
But now it's lately been really popular. For like, fuck, I gotta make sure I'm back in Phoenix by 8 so I can go to Yucca or wherever, because Franks and Dean's is here, or, God, when I see Mean Motor Scooters fucking coming, playing a Sunday show. And I'm gonna be there because I think they're awesome, but I'm like, damn it, this is my day of like, I'm gonna go hiking and not care if it's dark when I'm driving home. But yeah, no, you need some time to yourself.
Self-care is super important. I'm bad at it, which being 38 isn't good because I'm not heading into the easy years. Like, it's about to get a whole lot harder to be.
And I've expressed this to, I think, a couple of friends I've known, that I noticed this in the last year. I seem to be, especially since I started doing concert photography with a real camera, more accepting of failure and rejection. Like, I still have that fear of asking a girl, I'm like, fuck.
Me too. Yeah.
Like, that still exists, and yet I'm like, email a band, didn't hear anything back, follow up one more time, still didn't hear anything, fuck it, move on. Like, I just failed, and I'm like, water in the bridge, whatever.
Yeah.
Where I'm still like, what if she says no?
Yeah.
Fuck, why can't I apply this to everything else? And yet I'm getting used to this in this facet of my life now.
Yeah.
Why isn't the lesson expanding yet?
Yeah.
Because I need it. Well, maybe I don't need it. I'm not dating, but... or maybe that's why I'm not dating. Who knows? You can tell me.
I mean...
But I've become more accepting of failure and that I am going to fail, and I'm not going to always have every band being like, man, we should have ever showed Joe at our show taking pictures. Why the fuck did we ignore his emails? It's like, no, I understand that some bands are not going to respond to me or even care that I'm taking pictures of them. We're ever going to post. But when they do reply, it makes it a bit more meaningful.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of rejection in trying to even get photo passes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like even some smaller bands where I'm like, dude, they're fucking rad and I think they're super awesome and I'm spreading the word of them and they're not responding to any of my social media posts.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still going.
I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know what time it is.
Yeah, I
guess we
don't
could
know.
probably
It's
wrap up here shortly. It's like in 2 hours.
Yeah, let me know.
Or
I mean,
over 2 hours, huh? There's a timer.
Whenever you're ready to cut it, I'm down. We're cool.
But yeah, man, what else should we talk about? We haven't talked. We've had good conversations.
We
It's
just
just
enjoyed
floating.
it, yeah. I love that we got you out there. That was one of my main goals was like, who is this fucking
And now
guy?
everyone knows I'm single and not dating. It's out there.
And yet, ladies, come on. Look at the manscaping. Like, this guy is fucking
Just because I shaved today
top
doesn't
tier.
count.
Top tier. This guy right here. You need to... And if you're watching this because of the video games, he likes video games too.
Yes.
He's fucking into this shit. Where's the camera? This guy.
That's right.
It's not even like it's hard to get a hold of him. The motherfucker's on every platform. Send him a message.
I actually did register a TikTok.
No
recently.
tit pics. That's a fucking fourth date thing. Don't do that. Don't come right out with your goodies, okay? You gotta be gentle. He's a timid little rabbit. You gotta like approach slowly. You gotta have the carrot out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta really. Being single is the fucking... That right there is why I'm single. That pitch I just fucking gave for you...
Yeah, because I didn't know that was a fourth date thing.
It's not. Fuck on the first date. You know what I mean? Whatever. You can be married. Just flush it all down the toilet. Who gives a shit?
I am at that age where I just noticed like so many... Damn you back to school. Like so many friends have kids and like are having babies and I'm like... Fuck, the stereotype of they're like, you get to an age and then your social media is just everyone's kids and you're like, why am I not married? And you're like, but wait, do I want that right now? I know.
But even more deeper than that, not just the why am I not married, but is the fact that I'm not married a judgment on me? Like, am I a failure because I have not accomplished that thing? That fucks with my head all the time. And it's worse that I actually go to church, like, once a week and shit. So I'm around families and people that made that such a huge priority that they are married and have kids and shit, and it's impossible.
I'm like, did I miss the mark? Was I supposed to be?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still working on growing my brand. I got a TikTok now.
Do you really?
I do. I've only got one.
Oh, shit.
I got a video on there. It's not even of me. It's Josh from Zombie. I registered and I'm like, I probably should use this. And I mean, it is people singing and stuff. What if I put other people singing that's not me on my TikTok?
I need to take off. I'm gonna. Is it alright if I just
But,
leave the door
yeah.
open?
That works for me. It's
Okay.
cooler out
Yeah,
there.
it's
Let's
cooler
do
out
that.
Yeah, I'll lock the door here and then just keep an eye on things.
Oh shit! Look at that.
Oh, that's right, because it's
Giving us the fucking keys.
You have your
Look
shift
out.
change. I forgot. There's a reason we started earlier these days when we can. Yeah, I did register a TikTok because I was like, oh, it's not exactly what I thought it was, but it looks like it's something I might need to have and never show Joe of at some point.
The only thing I know about
But
it,
I don't
one of
keep
the
it up to
podcasts
date
I
if you
listen
do
to
follow
makes
me.
fun of it constantly. So
It is mostly, so I registered it like months ago actually, and then I just like skimmed it and it's just like a bunch of people singing pop songs of their favorite artists and I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And so I uninstalled it and then I was looking at stuff on it recently. I'm like, fuck, this is something I need to have. But I still am not using it. And like I posted a video and then I forgot about it again. So
I mean, there's too many. There's too many fucking...
and again, I'm one person.
Ugh.
I'm sure if I had like a team, it'd be like, all right, you're managing the TikTok, you're managing my Snapchat. Though I guess I should be on my Snapchat, so maybe I should manage that. All right, you get Facebook instead. How's that? Like, if I had a team.
And yet,
I have a Pinterest.
there's a guy in a chair right here that's totally doing your show. Like, that's already way level up from where I'm at.
I'm already
I'm
using
so
him as a
jealous.
barometer. I hope he doesn't mind. If I see him laughing at something, I'm like, all right, this is a good thing.
When he nods at a reference I make, I'm like, it's like laughter from a comedy crowd. I'm like, yeah,
We're connecting with at least the YouTube crowd that's going to see this tomorrow.
Oh shit.
Or later.
Yeah. I feel bad for my people because they just see you and me on a couch just with controllers in our hand. They have no
Oh, they're
idea
not seeing
what's
the
going on
feed.
up here. Yeah. But I don't care because they
Part of it's
tune
a
in for the
conversation.
So who gives a shit? And it's a low level. Even me, I have no idea what I'm doing with this podcast. So
That's fine.
having like these big episodes that seem to go nowhere.
Apparently, the
Like,
lessons I've learned from listening to people is just be authentic and do what you want to do, and then
Sincerely, I mean, since I'm somewhat known in and or plugged into the local music scene. My big hope is that they see your name attached to this, and they're like, "I want to get to know fucking Joe," because you do so much for the scene, and I feel like you're sort of this mystery. I feel like people just don't even really like know who you are. So my big goal was just like, let's fucking figure this guy out, man.
The funny thing is, so I won't post like this is where I work, blah blah blah. But if you walk up to me and ask me, I'm like, yeah, this is where I work. This is what I do. Like, it's not like I'm a closed book. It's just I don't bring it up unless people bring it up to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not public knowledge. It's just no one asked. I've had people go, "Wait, you have a day job? I only know you from this. I thought I was so confused on how you afford this." I'm like, "Yeah, I have a day job, like most people, like a lot of musicians locally."
Yeah, like all entertainers, and none of them are just doing what.
I mean, if you want to help me not have a day job, patreon.com/everyshowjoe. There we go. But yeah, it's like that's the way it is currently. That's even the way it is in the music thing.
Totally, 1,000,000,000%.
It was Pat from Reason Unknown. I think it was. God, was it the launch of my Patreon or something? I think it might have been my Patreon, but he's just like, "Oh, you're learning the lesson. Punk don't pay the bills." And I'm like, "Yeah,
That's funny.
I definitely have been seeing this."
Yep.
This lesson, and shit, I should have paid attention to my next block.
Oh, get it! We're good? We're done?
Yes.
Wrap it up?
No, he was just mushing about that, but we probably should. This will be our longest episode of Every Shoujo.
Is it really?
Concerts of Consoles.
Oh, I love that!
Most definitely.
I want to see who beats me. Who takes you longer?
I think the second longest was when I was playing Toe Jam and Earl with Dadido, and we actually finished the game. And so, like, the conversation kind of died, and we were just like, oh, we're close. And so, like, the last 20 minutes are just us beating the game. But I think that's the longest episode to date.
Oh, shit. You're a stud, dude.
Thank you.
But yeah, for giving me your time.
Oh,
and giving me your time.
My pleasure. This was going to be an off week. I was
so
originally going to be in LA doing group vocals with Reason Unknown. Yeah.
No big deal.
But
Toss.
yeah. So let them know where they can find you on the internet and in person. Any upcoming shows?
Show-wise, if you're in Arizona, which I guess I'm assuming that most of you probably
most are.
Downtown Mesa, out in front of Gotham City Comics and Collectibles, I play acoustically every Saturday night from 6 to 8 p.m. The irony is tonight's a Saturday night, and I'm not doing that because I'm going to a show to record video for a friend. But most Saturday nights I'm there. You can find the band Evening the Score. It's all one word, EVENINGTHESCORE, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Evening the Score. The album Farewell Aquarius is on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon Prime, all those fun places. I just put out a documentary film on YouTube. It's called Back to the Berg. If you just find the A Guy, a Car, and a Podcast YouTube channel, type that in. It's there. Check that out. And then the podcast, obviously, A Guy, a Car, and a Podcast. You can find on social media at A Guy, a Car, a Pod, and you can find the actual show.
And we started out driving a car on this episode.
All that shit. That I would not be as good at if I wasn't doing that so much. So you're welcome for that whole vomit.
And for me, of course, thank you, SER, and you guys for just producing it and helping me here. It's been awesome having this as our home. Again, I'm one person, but also keep up on the everyshowjo.com, usually the day after, fingers crossed, it goes up on YouTube on the podcast feeds, and so you can find it there, plus youtube.com/everyshowjo, twitch.tv/everyshowjo, podcast services, whatever you look. It's on like 8 of them now. I need to get it on the Spotify, I guess.
It's not hard. I can help you. They have like a
Plus, you can help me
system now.
by whatever place you're watching or listening by subscribing. So subscribe on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on what podcast service you're listening to it on. That helps. And like I've said like 3 times, patreon.com/everyshowjo. I need to get better about calling out people's names that are doing that $5 tier. I think Raquel, and I think there's one more. That I need to look at that more. But yeah, that helps me out too. That'll help me replace the second camera that broke that I found out last night Furry Show Joe Says Go. Though I probably should actually make a real intro to that instead of doing it raw as I go. And I think that's everything. Next week, we have Tyler from Rundown Roommates from Squared. He's coming through. We're going to live up to his challenge on the Meatbag and Geo Hour to play some Smash Brothers. He challenged me at it. We're going to see. We're going to see how rusty or not rusty I am at it. I was playing with the new character Hero from Dragon Quest, but then I also put it down again. So we'll see how good or bad. I'll bring the game controller adapters. We'll play real Smash Brothers next week.
Nice.
Smash Brothers Ultimate. I think that's everything I got to go over.
Boom.
So until next week, you guys take care. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Joe. Joe Maier.
Reflect.